Good evening, everybody. Welcome. We got a pre-roll coming up in 10 seconds. Pre-roll, 10 seconds. What questions, Cruzito? I was totally going to softball it. If you've got a hard question, you better DM it to me because I got all softballs and frisbees. I might even toss a watermelon. But Cruzito, you've earned grace with me, so if you've got something, shoot it over to me real quick. All right, you gotta hit that pre-roll. Here we go.
Get crazy.
There we are. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome into the show. How y'all doing? Oh, I'm excited. We got a great show for you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in to Talking Trek Live, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast. I'm your host, UltimatDJz. Welcome in. What's up? All right, listen, we got a lot to do tonight. We got big stuff. We've got game design here. We've got, that's right, Mr. Tiger is back. Domen is back. And they're going to talk to us more about the Augment expansion, Wrath of Khan Part 2, the USS Reliant, more on ATAs, and so much more. Major Payne says the grind is terrible. Take it back. Take it back, Major Payne. There is grind. There is grind, and we're going to talk about it. Hey, Puddin', what's up, Broken Wolf? How are you? Ladies and gentlemen, we got to kick this thing off with a very traditional Talking Trek server sound off. You guys go ahead and punch it up in chat, and let's find out where you guys are hailing from here tonight. Noon West on server 29. What's up? Scaly back from the Outback on 188. Raj on server 9. Stradalorian also on 9. Betty Hills Ghost on 42. What's going on? Foldog on 13. Mama Jelly on 63. Omicron on server 8. What's going on? Timothy on 93. Tarpy, what's up? Tarpy's hanging out on server 70. How are you? Check on 84. Wristbreaker on 70. Newton on 702. Ben to the Robot on 51. Cruzito on 13. Kilfer says the grind is exactly what I want. Give me more grind. Yeah. You know what? Give me more grind that I enjoy. That's the key part right there, Kilfer. It's weird. Johnny 5 on server 44. What's going on? Darksider on 13. Broken Wolf on 99. Silver Tab on 33. Grinding away. Baladom on server 17. Captain Taylor on server 27. What's going on? Max Borg on 138. Callum Dari, server 704. Plugster on APAC 188. Good evening, Mort on 187. Shelby on 701. Mickey on 187. What is going on? Grancy Outlaw on 84. Jess Insanity on server 74. JPC on 158. CJ, server 26. What's going on? Barcelona, European 138, and so many more. Wristbreaker, what's going on? Good evening. Listen, we've got so many people. Deckard here on 37. Wristbreaker on 70. Ken on 710. So many more. Almost 100 additional messages. You guys are awesome. What's up? Welcome in. Appreciate you guys. Listen, we've got a lot to get to tonight. We've got very special guests waiting in the green room. They're going to be here in literally just minutes. But as I was pulling into the parking lot of the Talking Trek studios today, none other than I found, see, I was a little worried about him. He just ran off on vacation, so I thought he had quit. I thought he had went to work for the competition, so I had his key card changed. Ladies and gentlemen, Griffin is here. Where you at, buddy?
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, I have returned.
There he is. Omicron's like, wait, who?
Listen up, Omicron. Don't who me. Just because I'm not green doesn't mean you get to pretend that I don't exist. Okay?
Listen,
and I can spend in the game again, and I bought the new ship, and I have no idea how to use it.
Yeah, this is great. He sends me a message. I forgot to upload this. I've got to send you guys a message real quick. I'll put this up on screen really fast. This is great. He sends me a message just like an hour or two ago. And I can tell that he's very distraught, right? He's trying to figure this thing out.
I'm calling tech support. I'm like, this isn't working. Hello?
He said, I've spent hundreds of dollars on this ship. I've got it all the way to tier 9. And it's not working for me. All right, it's not working. Hang on,
it's just I can't hit a 60. I can't hit a 60. I can't hit a rare.
Hang on 1 second. So he sends me this. Let me pull this up on your screen real quick, and I'll throw this into the graphics room. This is my message from Griffin tonight. Says, thanks, missed you. By the way, I have this effing ship up to level 9, level 45, tier 9, and I can't hit a 60. What? What's going on? And I was like, you silly boy. All right. Obviously, packs are for Griffin. Okay, packs are for Griffin. You just haven't bought enough, and much to his delight, we have a member of Game Design on our stage, getting ready to come up here in just a second, who clearly is going to agree with me, Griffin, when he says that A, you haven't spent enough, but B,
what?
Welcome back to the world of spending. How was your month off?
Oh, it was delightful. It's amazing how many things I was able to afford and upgrade around the house with all that dispensable income. I mean,
I know.
I've got new furniture in the backyard. I got new plants. I've got a new watering system. I should have got a new car.
Oh, this is cracking me up. Anyway, obviously, yes, his challenge of little or no spend has been lifted. And I showed you guys the message that he had sent the other day at Arcfall, waiting for Arcfall to hit so that he could just go in and buy packs. I mean, you
did
were,
you share my vacation photo?
I did. I shared your vacation
yeah.
photo. So yeah, we were able to share all that. It was great. Listen, we do have a lot to get to tonight. We've got special guests in the green room right now. As a matter of fact, I see one of them here. I don't see the other one yet, but you know what? He might not have woken up yet. All right. He was trying to wake up. I think it's like 3 o'clock his time, 3 o'clock in the morning his time. We're going to keep an eye out for Domen coming up here in just a second. But ladies and gentlemen, he is absolutely a legend with you guys, and has designed the last 2 months with regards to game design. He introduced the game's first unlimited grind model with the Wrath of Khan Part 1. And initially, Griffin, I feel like there was a little bit of backlash. I don't even want to say backlash, just surprise, a little unfamiliarity, so to speak. But once people started realizing what was at stake, once people started realizing what was to gain, and once people started realizing that there's no loss, you just do what you want to do when you want to do it, and you get the things whenever you check off the boxes. People started coming around to this a little bit. Now, obviously, last month wasn't without its bugs. We had engineering issues. We had some miscues with live ops. We had some problems in the game. Customer service was backed up all month long. But when you guys issued your final grades, it was the first time since we've been doing final ratings that players were willing to forgive engineering for the sake of beautiful game design. And ladies and gentlemen,
that is huge. That goes to show if you pay people to play with good rewards like this game designer has done, then a little goes a long way.
It does. Ladies and gentlemen, here to represent Wrath of Khan Part 2 and to talk to you about this arc and the future of grindable arcs. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Mr. Tiger. What's up, my man? How are you?
Hey,
Oh, right now, immediately, I'm going to have to turn off the sound alerts.
You were saying something earlier, and that something was that you couldn't get new furniture, or you did get new furniture. Guess what?
I did.
Couldn't get new furniture, so thanks for that.
He couldn't get new furniture. Yeah, he couldn't get new furniture because you didn't buy packs last month, Griffin. Way to go. Thanks a lot.
I don't even have a chair.
So that just goes to show
here.
all of you out there, trickle-down economics is in fact a thing. Okay?
That's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, with us tonight, we've got Mr. Tiger, and it does appear that Domen is not here just yet, but we will look for him here in a moment. I'll send him a message. But good evening. Welcome, Tiger. Welcome back to Talking Trek. Today is probably one of the coolest opportunities we've had to talk because we're coming off of probably one of the highest rated arcs of all time. And in Wrath of Khan Part 1, we see a lot of similar stylings in Part 2. Obviously, that came from your brain. And a couple of items, I guess, Griffin, where we say we return back to STFC normalcy, which you and I have had a ton of conversation about. Guys, I will tell you this, that I have had lengthy conversations with Mr. Tiger regarding the feedback from last month and what we see this month. He has been very, very available to me and therefore to all of you. So it brings me a ton of joy to bring you back to this stage. So first of all, let's celebrate the win from last month. Players universally, at least from our perspective, universally loved the game design from last month. Does your data support that? What was the opinion of the entire player base? How are you reacting to Wrath of Khan Part 1?
Yeah, so first of all, I'm celebrating. This has been awesome. I will say, from my perspective, it's been polarizing to start because I don't let's be real. This isn't perfect. This design is perfect. No design will ever be perfect. There are people and groups of people who feel certain types of ways about no matter what we do. And oftentimes those loudest voices are the ones that we hear the most, at least at first. And so at first I was kind of panicking a little bit, as I always do, but I also reassure myself that this happens a lot. We've seen this before, going all the way back to Bajorn and other things. Like, it just takes time, especially with the kind of content that I tend to build. It is generally something that you age into. And so to start, there were some concerns, there were some considerations. We definitely wanted to dig into it, but ultimately where it ended up, I'm very proud of it. I mean, regardless of how it goes, I'm always proud of what my team produces. Like, it's not just me. I'm backed by an incredible team, and there was a ton of heart that went into this. I think that's one of the important things when making a game. It's not just about the numbers and the balance and everything making sense. It's the heart of how does this feel? Are we putting our best out there? And the team absolutely did.
So what you're saying is that you, in fact, had faith of the heart.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah.
There you go. Yes, exactly.
Cool.
And to see it come together has been such a reward. I'm loving it.
So the team saw a lot of similar, and you're right. You're never going to please everybody. Even in the chat right now, some players are like, well, listen, game design might have been great. I don't know if it was the best arc ever. And of course, again, depending on your perspective, I mean, there were a lot of engineering problems. When you look at the design, though,
sure, yeah.
I do really look at this design as being one of the best. Now, Shiz brings up a really important point in chat. The grind has been rough. Okay, grind has been rough, but that was kind of the intention. Tell me a little bit about the conceptualization of Wrath of Khan, because really, you look at part 1, you look at part 2. There's not much new here. This was really at its core an entire season. Like other video game companies call them seasons, where some other tools and things came out. This feels like the same content, right? This is the same content arc. But you released a tool this month that improves upon it last month. But one of the things that I observed with the audience 2 days ago is that this month, your core objective remains exactly the same. Right? The
Which
objective
translate is it's not another new loop for us to learn and go through back to back to back.
Sure. Yeah, it's the same objectives. We're chasing the same rewards. We're chasing the same objectives. We're killing the same loop. We're killing the same hostiles. We're using the same currencies to maximize our rewards out of this. And much like in Bajorn and Deep Space Nine, much like in Voyager, much like in Mirror Universe, the rewards are deep. So it's going to take a lot of time to be able to fully explore those, which has been one of the things you and I have talked about. If you've got an arc with enough depth in the rewards, then it's okay for it to be grindy, right? We've talked about this a long time, community, about the power of grind. And while a lot of us, namely me, have not been grinders, okay? I don't like grinding. I don't. It's no secret, okay? But for whatever reason, I have felt like doing it over the last 30 days. And that is not normally my play style. So for a lot of you who don't like grinding or are busy, you got jobs, and you can't put in the same amount of time as your alliance mates, I totally get that perspective. But when it comes down to the style of rewards that this arc offers, Mr. Tiger, you guys tried something new, it feels, with this. And I know that we had an opportunity to talk a little bit about this last month, but now that we've seen it for 30 days, are we on the path to what you had envisioned here? Are players learning the full scope of the rewards that you had laid out, or is there still pieces of this that players haven't discovered yet?
I think it'll still take a bit of scaling. I think people right about now are really starting to get it, especially with how the ship adds. There was a lot of details that we can try to communicate through patch notes and discussions, but you really have to experience it and go through it yourself to really get a grasp for it in terms of what strategies are going to work for you. And I think that it's still going to take some time to fully scale into it, but I've seen a lot of people just completely solving it already and doing really cool things like putting a PvP crew on their ship and setting it up so that people can't, take their loot, and just interesting things like that change up how they're playing based on what they're trying to do, or like basically setting a trap for people. And I like that. The intention of this was to build a package from start to end, like starting last month, coming into this month, and the ship slots into that package. We didn't want it to be reinventing the wheel 2 months in a row. It's kind of a continuation. And so you can expect to continue learning and continue growing into it all throughout the rest of this month as the content continues to get more prevalent into people's hands. I think one of the most underrated things, just to add here, is the 5x increase on the trophies on the revenge hostels. That's not something that's like immediately obvious. You can't really tell unless you start playing and experience it, right? And so there's a couple hidden things like that I think you just have to play, and you'll realize, oh my goodness, it's actually insane. That's the hope.
Yeah, that is actually one of the very early things that Jules Verne identified. And for those of you who may have missed some of our previous content, I'll put this up on the screen for you very quickly. This is exactly what Mr. Tiger is talking about. The thing that we've been teaching on here for the last 48 hours is the trophies, which is the long grind. Okay, so this is the benefit of the Reliant. In my opinion, it's the primary benefit of the Reliant. I understand that there are people out there who say the ship is soft at tier 1. I get it. Even Griffin was talking like, okay, I'm not able to do what I would expect to be able to do, and I'm tier 9. And that obviously wasn't probably super cheap to get there. What is obvious, or obvious now with this data chart in front of you, is that the long grind, exactly, Omicron, the set it and forget it piece of this are these champion trophies. And here to tell you, you've got officers like Joaquim. You've got amazing researches in there like Khan's Favor. You have skill points in there that are all using the insignias that are earned from these champion trophies. The champion trophies, I tell you what, Mr. Tiger, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if Jules has missed the mark here, but it feels like that the long-term end game, you always like to build the you like to build the end game kind of rewards. Like, you don't want the loop to necessarily end, but you've got your long game projection rewards out there. It has to be the insignias that come from these trophies. There's no way around it, right?
I think it is and it isn't at the same time, and here's why I'm going to say this. It's the end game in the sense that it's the ultimate carrot, I guess. But all the content that is behind it are things you can finish. You can get Khan. You can max Khan. You can get Joaquim. You can max Joaquim. Similarly, all the research nodes that require you to use this currency, you can max those. And so it's an end game thing, but it's on a limit where you can finish it. The thing that I guess you can also finish it, but a much longer depth, I would say, is the content in the faction store with the credits, where you can claim pretty much day in, day out those officer packs, because even once you max those officers, which firstly is going to take a long time, but even after you max them, that's transporter patterns for the future of whatever we do there, right? I'm not saying we're doing anything there, but in the future, hey, maybe there's going to be something you can do with those. And similarly, other content there's projectiles, there's not refits, artifacts, and other such content that you can work on for a really long time. So I think that that's actually going to have more depth there, but maybe less value. And so in terms of how you see it, the immediate end game, I would say, is there in the champion trophies and that content, but you can finish that end game and you'll kind of move down to the next one. Again, it depends on where your priorities are and what you're trying to get, but that was kind of a unique part of this loop that we don't often do, where you can finish the end game.
Well, and I see this in chat as well. Cruzito points out a very important item, and I'm going to point this out that is not in your comment, Cruzito, but I was actually thinking about this yesterday while I was preparing some of the questions that I had for you, Mr. Tiger, and looking at the perspective of the community, at least some of our most vocal contributors, whether they're usually positive or negative. Cruzito is typically a very vocal critic when it comes to a lot of Scopely design. Lost In, same way, very engaged player. Dragon Keeper, very engaged, very vocal. And at least 2 out of 3 of those have taken a step back this month to look at this style of design and the fact that it is so unique and so different than anything that Scopely has ever really done before. It is kind of a breath of fresh air, even if players may not necessarily appreciate the levels of grind. And that was something even Bubba Joe was talking about the other day. Listen, we might not like the quote-unquote grind price tag, like the grind tag that you've put on something, but the fact that it is grindable should absolutely be praised. The fact that there is something that players can go out there and earn that would otherwise in traditional game design would be pay gated. You know, and you've got, like you mentioned, Khan, not only unlocking Khan, but maxing him, unlocking Joaquin, but maxing him, unlocking some of the research, but able to earn enough to max that research. So when you're looking at that core piece of the game, and for the record, guys, that's all Wrath of Khan Part 1. Wrath of Khan Part 2 brings in the tool to accelerate that time model. But what I find fascinating, Tiger, is that this month you're still seeing players focus on Part 1. They're still chasing those original goals. And as a result, they are, at least according to the data, which I'm going to share with you guys here in just a moment, they are widely adopting the USS Reliant. And there can only be a couple of reasons for that. Let me ask you, first of all, when in designing the Reliant, which I know was one of your team, and not you writing out this ship, but it's been received incredibly well. Do you think, tell me why you think that is. Why is this ship with this style of arc, why do you think that players have adopted this like they have?
Well, one of the things, it's a great question. And shout out to my team for doing a great job. One of the things that we do well is collaborate and ideate together, so not one person fails alone and not one person succeeds alone. And so as a team, we really rally behind the vision of, I guess I would say, is inclusive design. You're not like, so some ships, for example, maybe there's no refinery at all. You don't have a refinery unless you have the ship. And this ties into what we did in month 1 that was open to everyone. I get it, by the way. And by the way, I do think that it was probably more grindy than I would have liked. I'll just say it right here in full honesty. It was more grindy than I would have liked. I nerfed it several times and could have been a little bit better. But the idea of the ship was to feed into that inclusive design. Now, I think that ships should bring something exclusive. For example, the new favors that have officer shard efficiency, those are exclusive to the ship. And it's nice to have something behind the ship. But a large part of the ship just ties into what you can already do. And so by doing this, you don't feel excluded if you don't get the ship, but you do feel rewarded if you do get the ship. And that's a sentiment that I would like from players, to not feel like they're missing out no matter what, but to feel encouraged to participate. And, hey, I want to do this, so I'm going to do it. Not, oh, I can't play this month because I didn't. And that's just a personal philosophy that we really try to bake into this whole package of the Wrath of Khan arc. And I hope it comes across, and it seems like people are enjoying it generally, even though I get there's gripes as well, right? And that's kind of what we want. Like, we're never going to get it perfect, but we have people strategizing, playing, enjoying, talking about Trek. I love to see that. That's what gets me inspired, when I see people just talking about this game and being passionate. Like, that gets me passionate.
One of the comments in chat right now from Chatter says, you know, I wasn't as engaged last month, knowing that the Reliant was going to come and would improve this arc. I'm going to show something to you, Mr. Tiger, that is probably surprising. And I see Beck in the audience. She's probably gonna fuss at me a little bit. But I want to show you this chart, courtesy of Chronox at stfc.pro. And
this is huge. This is huge data right here.
This is very cool. This is the first 48 hours of the last 6 specialty ships that have been released by Scopely in ARCs. We're not even, this chart is not even finished. This chart was only as of 42 hours on the Reliant, and it has outperformed every other ship by a minimum of 20% in the number of players who have actually picked this thing up. So when we're looking at this, I joked with you earlier that I was going to have a little bit of a bombshell question that I wanted to drop on you. Do you feel that the number of players who are engaging with the Reliant, and therefore engaging with the currency, or engaging with the entire grind, Wrath of Khan, do you feel that this is contributed to by the fact that this is, as you and I have discussed, an unlimited grind model?
That's hard to say. I think there's a lot of variables, but that could absolutely be one of them. I believe it's a different reason for a lot of different segments of players, and that's kind of the beauty of it. Some likes the unlimited grind, some likes the ability to auto grind and not have to actively participate in a new loop, but rather solve a problem. Some like the value offered behind it, and I've seen a lot of different types of feedback coming in, and to me that's what's good. Ultimately, I'm just glad players are enjoying it for whatever reason, but I absolutely think that it was part of it.
Oh, Mr.
And by the
Tiger,
way,
we're
here's the
sorry.
thing about
That
data.
is the wrong answer. That's not what we're looking for. You can sit down and be wrong. The correct answer was yes. This is definitely a barometer of the success of this play model. Everybody clearly loves what happened month one, and they want to speed it up even more, which is why they bought the ship more than any other ship in like the last year of the game. That was the correct answer
for the rest of the time.
Yeah, Bezos is like, amen, preach, unlimited grind models forever. You know, we can talk a little bit more about this here in a philosophical style here in just a moment, but I do want to kind of circle back to the fact that when you look at this right here, if you look at this and you can clearly see engagement and traction with this style of design. Obviously, there's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors. I don't want to blame it or credit all of it to being that it was a grind model, but that had to be a significant piece. When you're looking at the design of this arc as compared to other arcs, this was the first time you guys had gone in the direction of an unlimited grind model. Let me ask the historical design intent on that. Why did you decide to try it?
One thing about me is that if I'm not pushing myself to break boundaries, I'm not growing. And so basically everything I do on this product, I try something new. I always have a twist. I think I need that as a creative. And so for me, one of the things I wanted to do here, and for full context, the whole idea of Champions was supposed to be like a stretch goal. I think it ended up becoming the pinnacle of what people enjoy, which is awesome because, hey, a cool side idea became like the main focus. And what I was trying to do there is a unique end game, push power, really check where you are in the game, like basically holding up a mirror. This is where you are, to get a sense of how far you are and how far you should be pushing. And turns out players really enjoyed that, and they smashed it out of the park. To be honest, I didn't think it was going to be possible to defeat the highest level champions. When I built, like in my design document right now, you'll see the different brackets of difficulties, where I put a target of who should beat what. And I thought you were going to need to max these things out for not even in this month, but in the future to like really push yourself. And I was hoping it'd be a stretch goal. And you know what? It's all good. People smashed it out day one. They always find a way. I love that. That's awesome. And so what do? We adapt. You guys are having fun. I love that. Let's double down on it. And so the ship was always meant to enhance it, but you'll notice that the enhancement coming from the ship is largely in the acquisition of trophies, not in the defeating of the champions.
Yes.
That we just didn't have time to flesh out properly. All right, you guys, you have fun on that? Go crazy. And so anyway, to answer your question, it really is, I need to challenge myself. I think this game needs new, fresh ideas. It's been going on for years. We need to try new things. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. And when they don't, please forgive me. When they do, hey, I'm going to try to do more of those. But not just keep doing the same thing again and again, because guess what? You guys are going to get bored of that. Let's add a new twist on it. Let's try something else as well. Let's find what works and keep going in that general direction, but not only that. That's kind of my philosophy here.
You know, that actually is a perfect tie into one of the questions that I wanted to ask, and one of the things that you and I talked in depth about in the pre-interview is, hey, what is the likelihood of doing stuff like this in the future? For example, I mentioned this on Tuesday's show, and I know that you and I talked about this afterwards. I would have loved to have seen in this particular month, and obviously, you know, there was analytics of data, and we had to look at players and how they were going to be responsive, and you know, part 2 was probably being written many months ago before we would know what the success of part 1 was. But I had mentioned to you, you know what I would have loved to have seen would have been a continuation in this Wrath of Khan, even if it was a 2-month unlimited grind model, and then we took the time to analyze everything. But to get the full picture, the painting of everything, I would have loved to have seen these hostiles this month be updated with their loot table to drop a blueprint shard, you know, for example, so that I can go out and kill, say, I don't know, 150, 200 hostiles with a converter that can convert into 2 or 3 blueprints of the new ship to allow the ship to be grindable in the same way that you allowed Khan, and the same way you allowed Joaquin to be grindable, to make the ship grindable instead of going to the 100-day model, or dropping in little numbers of the ship parts in the appropriate level hostiles. Just like you've got the common, uncommon, rare, and epic loot, we could look at the common, uncommon, rare, and epic parts that could be dropped in really small numbers, nothing crazy, nothing to break the model, so to speak, but to continue that methodology of grind, the methodology of players like Mord and players like Shiz and players like Major Samo, what's going on? And Tibbs, welcome into the chat. Appreciate the raid. Players who went in and ground out the 60 million rep during last month. You know, the real go-getters, the true grinders who wanted to go after these goals that you set for players.
Yeah.
You and I had an interesting conversation about dropping blueprints and dropping ship parts into these hostels, because not necessarily everything about the arc should be grindable in your perspective. But do you feel like dropping some ship parts or dropping ship blueprints into this type of grinders model, similarly like to how you did with Khan and Joaquim, do you think that would have been bad for this grinders model?
My thoughts on this is that this is an incredible topic we could probably spend hours talking about. And what I'll say on it here is that, for some context, I think especially for the viewers at home who might not know this, the content we build usually starts ideation months before you all start seeing it.
Sure.
Right? And so, for example, when it's an arc, everything's been decided and locked in and built over the months leading up to it. So making a last-minute change is quite risky, because along that journey, those months, we're planning for all the edge cases as best we can. We're figuring out who's going to own what, how it's going to fit in the schedule. Like, there's a lot of things to build and construct, and just Miro boards to put together, like flow charts to see how it's all going to work. And so these details require a lot of time, and last-minute changes aren't always possible. And so when it comes to the idea of putting grindable blueprints or parts on hostiles, or really anywhere that players can access for some amount of time spent engaging with the game, I think it's a really good idea, but I think it requires nuanced thought to really figure out the implications. And what does that mean for the health of the game? Because if we do that number wrong and everyone maxes the ship on month one right away, well, then now you're not going to want to play anymore. You finish it all so fast. Like, when we play video games, there is fun to be had in earning something and working through something, and there's pride to be had, right? If everyone did it, nobody did it, if you think about it.
Sure.
And so those players who hit 60 million, in fact, even more than that, those players who are at the exile bracket, and yes, there are some, congratulations, like, you go.
Yes.
And I really want to reward that behavior. Like, it was faster than I thought, for sure, like way faster than I thought. But the fact that people did that, that's a huge achievement. Let them enjoy it. And so there's a balance to be had there. And so I would never shoot that idea down, but I would say, I want to take those thoughts into a future arc where we can really think about how it's going to impact what we're building. And every loop is different. The Augment faction and the way that it was built and how the ship ties in is very different probably from how our next arc is going to be structured. And so how we deliver it might not even make sense on Hostiles, but it might make sense somewhere else. And just the philosophy of allowing players to play has been widely well received. I mean, obviously, like, they want to play the game that they love. Like, we shouldn't stop them. And I really, really enjoy that, and I want to do more of that. So if I can promise you one thing, it's that I hear the voices. I want to do more of the things you love, and I will, to the best of my ability, do more of the things you love. Will it be specifically this, that, or whatever? I can't promise you that. I don't even know what it's going to be yet, but I want to go in that direction. I want to be an advocate for this community. I love our player base. I love this game. We're going to make it awesome.
You know, it's really, really cool to hear you say that, because on our last show together, you had expressed caution at the unlimited grind model for what you had described as moral reasons, right? And and I'm wondering, you know, you and I have discussed that a lot over the last 4 weeks. From 30 days ago to now, do you feel that dangling that carrot, do you feel more relaxed about that? When I'm looking at the data,
that's a great question. Yeah,
I'm looking at the data, and and again, shout out to Chronox and STFC.pro, but we're talking a very, very few number of players who did actually grind out 120 million rep, right? Like, not like it was there, it was possible, all right, but I don't know that anybody exercised their ability to grind to an unhealthy level. There were very few players that did that. There were more players that did get to the 60 million, but now looking back on that, in retrospect, 30 days later, are you more comfortable offering players an unlimited grind model?
That's a really great question, and I'm kind of torn on it. So the first thing I would say is I've definitely been humbled in a way, if I think about it, because people want to play more, and like, who am I to gatekeep the ethics of it? On one hand, on the other, I do feel a responsibility, and so I think it's navigating that tension of not pushing people to the extreme, because some people, they will go too far. The games industry is not regulated in large part. Mm-hmm. Some places more than others, but largely it's not. And so I do feel some responsibility, but I think a lot less than I did at the beginning, just seeing people genuinely have fun. And the other thing is, Star Trek isn't just a place where you log in and grind and log out. Like, there's friendships made. There's connections made. Mm-hmm. And so while I might be sitting there, grinding hostels, I might also be having like a really good chat with someone who's having a rough time. And the stories that come out of this game are not to be dismissed, and who am I to regulate that? And so, like, I feel like I did change my mind a bit, and that's where I've been humbled. I'm like, oh, fair points. Like, who am I to gatekeep this? And so I still feel like there is some ethical discussions to be, or even thought processes to go into design, but probably not as heavy-handed as I historically go. And so I'm more open to exploring more of let them play more. They had fun. They had great stories. Okay, sounds good.
Guys, I can't underscore that response enough. Okay,
right?
That is true feedback heard, and on a very core topic, a topic that the community seems very, very excited about. Tiger, thank you for that response. Okay, and I know that's going to sound kind of silly, but I genuinely mean that, because that is the truest form of feedback heard, and a consideration into a direction that players are clearly asking you to go. And to be very, very clear, Archer, I see you comment in chat. No, I'm not saying that people who drove 120 million rep were unhealthy. I believe that's not all what I'm saying. As a matter of fact, I agree with Tiger in that, and I've said this on the show for the last 3 weeks. All right, a lot of witnesses here. I believe that people who ground that out should be proud. I think it was a huge accomplishment. I think that it demonstrated superior gameplay, superior time spent, superior engagement, and superior tactics. Because listen, you're not going to go out there and grind out 120 million rep or even 60 million rep, three hostiles to a hole. You're going to find a way to do it better. And I maintain what I said last month, that I find it to be wildly admirable. I find it to be something you should be proud of. And Mr. Tiger, I mentioned this with Tarpey and Everywhere It Matters on a previous show. I have seen players being proud. I have seen players being proud of these milestones that we have not seen in this game for a while. Like when people grind stuff out or people accomplish things or whatever, and we check off the boxes, it's usually an accomplishment in managing the clock, not missing a day's worth of refines. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's usually what it is. But this one was pure effort. This one was pure engagement and intention and skill. And players were proud of the accomplishments this month. More proud of any type of accomplishment than I have seen in this game for months, if not years. As a matter of fact, I see this in chat. The last true real grinders model we had were probably when the Capital City Traders were dropping ship blueprints. Remember that? Or even now in Mirror Universe, some of the G6 players are chasing some of the Sigma speed ups. There's very few places in this game that offer a grinding style model that players have been proud of. And I've seen that a lot this month. So it's
even
cool.
As we're speaking, I love the idea of a loot goblin dropping blueprints or something cool. This just came to me as you're talking now. Like, that's so cool, because then it's not something that's going to be as prevalent, but you can be the one to go hunt those consistently. And that's an achievement. And by the way, one thing that, if I could go back and change, some kind of cool cosmetic to commemorate you were the first to reach these crazy brackets, that's what I would add. That's what I would go back and change. Put like the cool cosmetics that are available for credits, put those behind the engagement of the content. That's what I would love to see. Because then not only do you have that personal pride, you can go brag, you could show it off.
Yeah.
I can go crack my new hailing frequency or whatever. I can put it on my profile. That's the kind of that's what I think a lot of players are playing for, those stories. That going ahead and telling everyone else the strategies, I learned it, so now I can teach you. How do we reward that? I would really like to do that.
Well, I think that is a great conversation, and you're right. We could spend a lot of time talking about that and how that can factor into this game. I love that conversation. I'd love to have it more, but more importantly, I do love the fact that it's something that you've warmed up to a little bit over the last month. So, some people in the chat are talking about solving strategy and figuring out, how the right way to do it was. On the other hand, some players will feel like it's a minimized accomplishment by, clicking hostiles or attacking. But I'm telling you that they played the game. It's different. So I don't know. It might not be in your eyes. That's certainly possible, but it certainly felt that way. Lost In has been very, very complimentary this month. And I'm actually surprised he's not here right now because he was very excited. He wanted to speak to you firsthand about how this was. And he's a whale. Cruzito's a whale. And even those VIPs have talked about how this particular style of grind actually motivates them, actually wants or actually makes them feel better about engaging with the monetization in the game, which at the end of the day is obviously very, very important to you guys. So I think that's actually a very, very good thing, and I want to call it out. Silver Shelby says it was fun. Shelby grinds a lot. All right, yeah, and I know I usually get very distracted, but I ground.
Usually,
Listen, Griffin Jules bragged on me for actually grinding on stream this month. I did streams where I just ground hostiles.
That will
crazy,
have to clip
Full
that.
complete. We got DJ to grind. We're good.
We're done now. That's it. Game over, everybody. Game over. All right. So
just remember, Mr. Tiger, as proud and happy as I am to hear that you like the idea of potentially a loot goblin dropping things like blueprints or ship parts, the lesson that the Mirror Universe did teach us was, if you are going to have such a loot goblin, the correct time to have it repopulate is 2 to 3 minutes. I've still got a broken clock back here for when it turned out to be 28 minutes and 32 minutes. We don't want to have that. Okay?
It's fine. We'll buy him another clock. It'll be fine.
Still waiting for a new clock. No clock. No clock.
So let's talk a little bit more about the application of this month. All right, we've talked about the intention, the design, and hopefully where we see you guys take some of these arcs in the future. But let's talk about the here and now. Let's talk about the USS Reliant. All right, we've done a lot of teaching on this. We've shown some of the data. Jules Verne has been very helpful in explaining how the trophies are going to work, which again is a very, very, in our mind, a very, very important piece of how this ship works. But let's pretend that some of the audience has not seen any of the content. They've not listened to anything that we've done up to this point. They are here, Mr. Tiger, for you. All right? They want to know, what does the Reliant do? So let's talk about this. How does the Reliant help or support the loop of the Augment expansion that was introduced with Wrath of Khan Part 1?
So obviously it's the best ship in the game, as we've seen on the graph. That is in terms of quality. But no, how I would recommend using it is very much up to how you want to engage with the new loop. I'll tell you some of my favorite ways. So I first want to open with a bit of a deception, because this one I think is going to catch a lot of people, and I want to clarify it. The intention of this ship, out of the box especially, is not going to solve all your splicer problems, okay? And what I mean by this is you're going to need to scale into the splicers. Now, bear with me. Right now, I think a lot of people are looking at the splicers as the answer, right? You want to get your splicers so you can get your refines. I get it. It's great. However, splicers are a means to an end. That end being Wrath credits. The ship, where it excels at its core, is giving you more Wrath credits. And so those refineries that are there that do require splicers, I actually look at that as a secondary value, is that the ship helps you solve that. But its primary function is more than that. It helps you accelerate the faction by auto-farming reputation. It helps you collect credits through its own refinery. And it helps you gather champion trophies for free, basically, because you just set it there in AFK and come back and you have a whole bunch ready to go in the chest. And I do want to clarify, the highest level epic hostiles drop the same amount of champion tokens or champion trophies as the lowest level common revenge hostiles that the ship can auto-farm. So for you to go AFK in the lowest level 26 system and disappear and go eat lunch or go do whatever, hang out with family or do something that you want to spend your time on, you're going to be gaining just as many, if not more, trophies than if you went to the highest level system and manually clicked on the hostiles. And so this is how I look at it. It's the best way to get credits for all the favors and for the faction. It's the best way to get trophies to get Khan and to get Joaquim. And it's the best way to progress your faction up and get that reputation higher and flex. And so hopefully that's enough. Go ahead.
I was just going to expand on that. So last month, the comments came in to Game Design. You and I had this conversation about the fact that it felt like 4 grinds in one, right? Like you had to go, and knock out. If you were a G6 player, you were going to kill the 60s, all right, or as high in the 60s as you could. The rare loot, you were right at. You were knocking on the 60s. That one special system. For the uncommons, you were hitting the 50s. For the common, you were hitting the 40s. Like that was the system. And it was almost curious because I even asked you this question, what's the point of the middle systems? Because mathematically, there's only one spot to hit this loot. All right? And we kind of talked a little bit about the fact that there were 4 grinds in one. And the way then that this ship comes out, the way that this ship is released, at least my initial reaction, and I'd like to get your reaction to this, my initial gut reaction to this was this ship was probably not ever meant to be my primary ship in this loop. It was probably never meant to hit the highest level of hostile. To me, this ship felt like, without taking the trophies into account, this ship felt like a replacement for grinding out the common and the uncommon loot, but I was still going to actively grind on the rare and epic stuff, right?
Yeah, that's what I get too.
Is that what was intended here? Is that why we had the 4 different kind of rarities in the very beginning? Can you tell me how this ties together?
So yeah, that's part of it for sure. One of the things I think is a big struggle, as I'm sure all of you know, especially like G6 players who progress, is having value early on in a ship when you're a high level player.
Yeah.
Like
it's tough.
It sucks when you get a ship and you got to invest 5 packs, 6 packs, more packs than that to even get it to be usable at all. And so these 4 currencies was an attempt. I don't think it was perfect by any means, and I understand that there's complaints with it, but it was an attempt to ensure that you get value right away and to really help with that. So we've done a couple things in this regard, like double segmenting the refinery, for example, to get multiple tokens depending on your grade. But we also wanted to make sure that just out of the box, no investment. You can go throw your ship somewhere and you're going to get a whole load of trophies and a whole load of loot that alleviates that part of the grind. And you can, exactly as you're saying, focus on upgrading your core power to go hit up as much as you can to get the highest, like epic ideally, and then down from there if you can't hit that high, down to rare and whatever you can hit. So that was the intention. But the intention on top of that isn't that the ship stays in that position forever. As you do invest into it, as you do get into higher ranks, it'll be able to help you auto-farm even more things. And at some stage, that ship can completely take over Augment and just you can AFK it there like you would in the Monavine, and it solves it. So the long-term plan is the solvent. The short-term plan is that it alleviates some of what you're going through. And by doing this, the hope was, the intention was, and I'll leave the decision up to the community how you all felt, that it helps day one out the gate, right, fresh from the box, without having to invest massive amounts.
That is a common theme, especially amongst some of the G6 and even later G6. Some of the VIP and whale community have consistently asked that question, Mr. Tiger. Is this a ship that I am going to have to get to the point where it can hit my level of hostiles before it becomes useful? Scopely has released a lot of these style of ships in the past, and it is a challenge. It's almost expected. That's why some players fuss a little bit about the one-trick pony type concept, but that was very clear. That was on your mind when building this ship, because out-of-the-box usability is evident here. There's a couple of places where it's evident. Obviously, first is absolutely in the champion trophies. All right, guaranteed number one, that right there, because it can auto-grind in the level 26 system. And for the record, I'm here to tell you, we did this on stream the other night. Tier 1, level 5, I could sit there and grind dozens and dozens and dozens of level 26 revenge hostiles. As a matter of fact, Jules and I kind of argued a little bit about where you should put it to auto-grind. And even there, we found two different strategies, Mr. Tiger. One, Jules' strategy was to park it in like the 38 to 40 system so that he could earn massive amounts of common splicers so that he could double pull that refinery and alleviate some of that grind. His goal with the Reliant was to supplement, his common splicer income. Mine, on the other hand, was champion trophies. Mine is not necessarily with the common, primarily because I love my junker for that as well. The junker's great. But I like the idea of investing in this ship just a couple of tiers and it now doubling my max income on the trophies. This is the big thing. Like if I can get it to hitting in the 42 or 44 system, now I'm up to 100 trophies per hostile. So there's two clear different ways to go about this, which is supplementing your common splicer income, but then the trophy. And then herein lies the funny part from last month. Why do you have all these independent systems or these in the middle systems, Tiger? Well, now it's obvious, right? Because I've got a little bit of gradient. I've got a little bit of edge for me to be able to go not only hit in a system, but as Shiz will point out in chat, not have the systems so crowded. By having all of these systems, you're not funneling the entire player base into 3 or 4 systems. You're going to be funneling them in. And for example, I'm looking for a system that's not very populated, right? Because I tend to die a lot on my server. So I'm gonna try to hide in a system that might not be super populated, and maybe one of the lower systems that's not quite as obvious, so that I can still be earning my trophies and so forth. So I like that particular piece of it. It was very clear in your design that out-of-the-box usability was important for you. Some players, though, are continuing to miss that. Are there more benefits to this ship early, aside from common splicers and champion trophies? Is there another trick up your sleeve here?
I think some of the other value that largely we don't talk about a lot, or I haven't seen the player base talk about as much, is the officer cost efficiency favors that are tied to the ship. Just by getting that ship, it unlocks the ability to get a whole bunch of those, and I think those have been pretty well received. And the ones we put behind the ship are all more modern crews. And as we continue to add those cost efficiencies, we're just going to only add more and more modern crews. So it'll get better and better as we add more. But I think that's also some underrated value for the ship. That's one of the reasons that I personally wanted it on my account. Of course, there's other things in there that are goodies for me too, but for where I was at, I just wanted to make those officers cheaper, because officers take a lot of investment.
They do. They take a ton of time. And like we saw with the away teams, we do see some of the newer crews, as you mentioned, here behind the ship tiers and the favors. Now, do be aware, we actually talked to one of your team about this, I think yesterday or the day before, in the engineering chat. There is a graphical issue here that I believe that we'll be able to solve moving forward. But some of these levels, as you point out in the chat, Shelby, some of these levels are they have prerequisites of tiers of the ship. And I do believe that we're working on getting that data available to you. I think Jules and I are working with them Jules is doing it, to get the actual tier locks for all of these favors so we can get them published for you guys. But there is some of that. Let me ask you a little bit about that. Now, you do know, based on our conversations in the past, prerequisites are not usually a favorite of mine. I'm not a big favor of prerequisites. I like investing into what I want to invest in. Tell me a little bit about the design of these favors and how they progress with the ship. As I mentioned to you the other day, when we were talking about the mega claim for the ATAs, which we'll come back to here in just a moment. For me, tier 15 is a long way off, right? It's a long way off. What do we do about these prerequisites in dangling value for players at earlier levels? What was some of the idea behind the design of the favors?
I think the first thing there is, I believe all those favors and also all the chests that scale go in increments of 5. So once you hit tier 5, 10, 15, I think are the thresholds where those improvements happen. I could be wrong. I can't remember if we changed it or not, but I'm pretty sure that's where the prerequisites largely lie. The great thing about the officer favors specifically is that those are retroactive.
Yes.
And so it doesn't really matter if you get them right now. It's more of a stretch goal, something to work on. Once you get it, you're going to get the benefit regardless, so you don't have to hold back. One of the things that I personally am not a fan of is having so many different efficiencies and so many different sources all across the game that can honestly be very hard to keep track of. And then just because of that, hoarding everything I ever get ever until an event tells me to spend it. Mm-hmm. I don't like that behavior, and I find myself doing that a lot. And so one of the good news here is that you don't have to worry about that here. You just get it when you get it. So it's just a nice to have that encourages you to upgrade the ship. And that adds extra value, hopefully, for those progressing.
It's funny, though, that the conversation has turned to the prerequisites, because in my view, for me, it's the prerequisite model of this arc and this ship that is the one Achilles heel that I can find. DJ says that the Wrath Champion, the trophies, are one of the main reasons why he's looking forward to investing in and utilizing this ship. But unless I'm wrong, this may be a dumb question. I'm a dumb guy. I really don't think you can do anything with these champion trophies until you're at 60 million superior level in this faction.
Isn't
that right, DJ?
Yes, that is correct.
So if you're looking at this from a starting line and getting all the way up to 60 million, it's that, wow, okay, it's cool that we can get these champion trophies, but man, I am months away from ever getting to 60 million in the first place, seemingly.
Well,
and that's sort of my beef with it. Just like you made the point with these favors, a lot of them, though it's awesome that they're retroactive. I've experienced that myself. I think that's great. Just telling the story from the starting line is something that makes it a little bit difficult to engage in, I think, for some of these players, commanders that are just getting started in this arc, DJ.
So let me ask this question, because this would be a great clarifying question. Mr. Tiger, the loot boost of the Reliant, is it splicers only, or is it loot for the Reliant? Because the reason I ask that is my understanding is the Reliant also is going to boost the reputation that comes from these hostiles. So, Griffin, to answer your question with my opinion, and then I'll ask Mr. Tiger, my understanding is we can auto grind this rep also overnight. Is that right, Mr. Tiger?
Yeah, the ship ability only affects splicers, but because the hostiles all drop reputation, especially if you have Carol Marcus. Oh, sorry, not Carol Marcus. The favor that increases the reputation, and also there's a refit if you need extra. You can AFK your ship and auto farm the reputation. So to Griffin's point, if you're not ready for the champion aspect of the loot kit, that's actually okay. You're going to basically be doing the same thing, but looking at a different currency to start. You're still going to want to go fly out as far as you can. You're still going to want to just let your ship idle and have a good crew that can defeat the hostiles. But rather than focusing on the chest that gives you the champion currency, you're going to be more focused on the reputation. And then once you finish that, you hit your 60 million, then you kind of, I guess, graduate in a way to the next stepping stone, which is now the champions.
So let's think about this, Griffin. In your particular case, you've invested in the ship up to tier 9. It's not killing the 60s for you yet. You're a little disappointed by that. Understandable. However, what you can do is what can you hit with it reliably? Maybe a 46, a 48. You could kill hundreds of them, right?
Even a 54.
Hundreds and hundreds.
Yeah.
Okay, buddy, park that thing overnight like a Monavine and let that thing grind out 1,500 rep for you every minute as long as you survive overnight. You know, and by the way, while the ship might not offer you loot gain, guess who does? 5 of 11, NT Picard, Rachel Garrett. Okay, so you've got these other loot officers. I would argue that this is Shiz. Another point from the chat. I feel like this is going to allow you to grind out that rep faster because now you've got an auto grind mechanic that is going to grind out rep. You know,
sure.
So for you, it might not
augment hunter favor, which takes me up 200% on that as well. I understand that.
Well, but I mean you don't even need that. I mean, obviously that's going to help, but you don't even need that if you're auto grinding it, right? I mean, if it's grinding out 500 hostiles for you, guys, I'll tell you this. Now, I died a lot yesterday. I died a lot because, like I said, people like to look for me, but I still ground 644 loot chests yesterday. In a single, in a day. I woke up, I just started setting it out. I had some people that would come by and kill me rapidly. I had other times where it stayed out long enough for someone to gank me OPC. I probably sent it out 15 times yesterday. I got the notification, I just popped it, I repaired it, and I sent it back out. 644.
Well, let me ask you this, DJ. Day over day, approximately how many million rep points did that equate to?
Well, I am not tier 9. I'm tier 1. Okay, so I was grinding out like the 35s, 36s, somewhere in there. So for me, probably not a ton. Plus, I was also using protected cargo crew. But again, rep is not my primary concern. All right, mine was the champion trophy. So you and I are chasing two different things. That being said, you guys know I hit 60 million rep just a couple of days ago. I have been actively farming with the Reliant, and I am now at 75 million reps. So in the last 2 days, Griffin.
Well, that's good.
In the last 2 days, I have ground, whether it be active or passive, 15 million.
DJ, you grind? Wow.
No.
No, he sleeps.
No, yeah,
he doesn't grind.
I set it out. That's what was great. I set it out. Okay.
Exactly.
So I put it out. It was passive for me. Now, there are servers out there that's not going to happen on. I get it. But that's also why I kind of maintain that I like the fact that you added in these extra systems here in the middle. And I may be incorrect, but did you want to release that announcement?
So, let's talk about that. So, the original systems that you see in the line, basically it's because I like to hide. In my server, everyone's real mean, and they like to blow me up, so I go hide. And the systems in between. You get less reward, but it's safer, so there's ROI to be had there, right? It's risk versus reward. Coming soon, one of the plans we want to expound upon is y'all love those, I guess, pinnacle systems, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. So we are planning to introduce more of those. So where you get to that point, the plan is to have several options. And so we do have variety, and you can still play it safe if you want to go somewhere else, but there's just more space to play, more fun to be had, more room for reliance, or more places to go hunt if you're a PvPer, which shame on you. Stop blowing up my ship.
No, I like it. And, I'm reminded also of when, the Meridian came out. Listen, hunters like that. And that's another thing. For those who don't like the auto grind, for those who don't like the mining piece of this also, Tiger, gives pirates an opportunity to engage in the loop while playing in a different way, a different style. By over-cargo hunting, it gives them an opportunity to progress in this loop, very much like territory capture did way back in the day. Pirates are going to love this. The Meridian is a great comparison, Shiz, because it had, it would get all this stuff super quick, but then you could go steal it, all right? The difference is with this ship, and by the way, again, thank you very much for considering this. This was talked about many months ago in the original design, but you guys listened and reacted to the protected cargo. This thing has a healthy protected cargo because you intended for this ship. I mean, you at least anticipated this ship was going to be hunted, right?
Oh, for sure. So a couple designers on my team wanted to push it even more because of their personal experience of just getting destroyed. Every server is different. Some servers are crazy. On my particular server, and one of the reasons it's close to my heart that it needed to have at least a pretty good protected cargo, is that it's not even ROE to hit OPC. You can hit any battleship. And so there's these guys who just want to show that they're better than everyone. They go blow up everyone's ships in those systems. It's so annoying. And so we have this context. We play the game. We understand those stories. And to me, I don't want to take that away because that is Trekkie. There are pirates out there. That's kind of part of the fun in a way. But also, it's kind of not fun if that's all that's happening to you. So we wanted to have hiding spaces for sure. But also, we wanted to have a balance so that the pirate can get rewarded for hunting. But when you get blown up, you're still coming home with a pretty reasonable chunk of cargo, especially as you tier it up. Like in the low tiers, it's probably not as great unless you're a low ops. For your refining needs. But when you tier it up, you can take home something like 16 days of refines and common loot for free in your protected cargo. Like that's kind of crazy, right? And now you bring crews and you can do all these different things. Like there's a lot you can do there. But the intention is that we don't take away from the pirates, but we do make sure both parties are benefiting because that's fun, right? It's frustrating at times. I get it. I couldn't even use my ship for the last couple of days because people were just going and hunting. But at least you get, I mean, as you can tell, I'm ranting on it because I'm tired. Stop blowing up my ship. Guys.
Listen, like I said, I died probably 20 times yesterday. But here's what's crazy about it. Out of all 20 times that I died, and I mean, again, I was very passive. I was at work. If I got the notification I died, I logged in real quick. I repaired it. I sent it back. I didn't even wait for it to get in the system because I'm just waiting for it to for auto grinders to come hit it. So 20 times throughout the day means that I was dying more than once an hour. And I would imagine that still probably over half of those kills were for overcargo. Now, half of them were, just because it was me. But but half of them, other players still took home loot. All right, which I thought was really nice. Yeah. But more importantly to me, maybe not to everybody, but more importantly to that, that's right, Andy, I still took home my champion trophies, which for me was very, very important. So I love that fact. Because we're almost out of time, and thank you so much for taking the time. I know you've had a very busy last month and this month. Your hours have been long at work, but I appreciate you taking the time. So let me kind of start to wrap up with this, and then we'll come and see if there's anything that you want to address. With relation to Priority 1 ATAs, there were improvements made this month. Two-stage question. One, tell players how the Reliant is going to contribute to their Priority 1 ATA success. And part two of this question is, are you done with the sourcing model on planetary charts? Because that I'm still going to land in the camp of I want more. Listen.
Here it is.
I am fine with you know what you said on the last show, that they were high value, right? High value, and they were meant to take a little bit more time because of how high value they are. And I'm fine with that mentality. The sourcing on the speed ups has been slow. I know that there are other creators. Lube and Stewie disagree with me on this. They want more speed ups. Me, I'm capped by charts, man. All right. I am doing fine with my speed ups. As a matter of fact, I'm okay letting my officers either sit there for a day or two or three, or banking a couple of speed ups before I start a high value assignment. I'm fine with that. But I now have 4 ATA slots. All right. Because I bought your Prime. Okay? I bought your Prime.
I can eat.
Yeah, I bought your Prime. I've got 4 ATA slots. I want to start more. All right. I want to run more. For me, the bottleneck is still charts. And let me remind you, like Quazel points out in the chat, I'm spending like 700 or 750 on the rares. We haven't even seen well, we have seen the epics are 2,000. The conquests are 4,000. And we've got a 5,000 cap, which don't get me started on caps. I don't like caps. But I still feel like if planetary charts for me feel light and I'm just trying to run rares, how on earth are you expecting players to run epics and conquests?
Yeah, it's a great question. And going back to what we were talking about earlier in this discussion, a lot of the stuff's planned in advance. And so the demand is not met, is what I'll say on the ship. We wanted to enhance the priority 1 assignments, which I think the ship does. But am I done? No. Like, there's a lot more.
No, he's not done. No, he's not done.
Right? I'm not done. I think the priority 1 assignments have been received really well. Way better received than I ever would have thought, which I'm glad to see. And that means that there's probably space in the future to breathe a lot more life into there, right? Not just with new assignments and this and that, but more sourcing. And okay, well, some people want speed up, some people want charts. Great, let's give them both. And yeah, that feature's got a lot of room to scale. Like, it just came out, and I see that having a long future. Like, I don't know how long the first assignments lasted, but like, I think quite a while before they started to fall off.
You see, if I'm Scopely, these are the 2 lessons that I have learned in the last 30 days. Number 1, the grind, the bigger we lean into the grind model and not regulate how much time people can or cannot play in the game, let them play if they want. But the more we lean into that model, the happier the players are. That's lesson number 1. And lesson number 2 is when we go back and we refresh and revisit a beloved feature that has a lot of dust on it, like ATAs, and we refresh it and make it new and shiny again, people absolutely go bonkers for that. Those are the 2 most important takeaways from this con arc. And I will preach that until the cows come home.
I fully agree. Well said. I don't think all the players agree. Like, that was one thing that I found very interesting. Some people got kind of mad and were like, "Oh, how dare you go back to my augment? I finished that." And I kind of get it. But what's better, a brand new faction you have to engage in, or one that you're already familiar with? I don't know.
You know, that's interesting feedback. Was that predominant feedback? Because I would find that to be I would find that to be minority feedback. I believe that players have actually frequently talked about they would rather revisit. They've actually talked about this a lot, that they would rather revisit something and freshen it up versus making a new loop. You know what I'm saying?
It is the purple squirrel because the majority of people loved it when we revisited Borg and we made the new Borg stuff happen with the new Borg mods and things like that. And that was also the straw that broke Trader's back and made her quit.
Yeah, oh yeah,
was having to go back to
Borg.
Borg.
Yeah,
you know,
I like the idea of a refresh. I do. I mean, not that I never want new content, but I do think that there is a fair balance there. You know, and I like the fact that we have gone to augment. I like the fact that we've gone to ATAs, and I like the new ATA expansion. As I mentioned to you privately, I'm fully invested. I bought multiple primes for ATAs. I want ATAs because I see value in those. I was willing to spend on those because I see value in them. And I guess here 2 months in, and I know it's early, but 2 months in, I have spent a few $100s on this feature, and I still don't have enough planetary charts. I need more, buddy. I need more planetary charts.
The charts are the problem. The speed ups are not the problem. It is the charts. I need charts.
I think we can solve both of those problems, and we definitely will in the future.
That being said,
and by the way, one thing I want to add on this, because it's very true, and this is why you always see, like, you probably all could quote me on this, that I say give it some time.
Yeah.
This is why I say that, because of reasons like this, where we get usually the loudest voices, the ones that come across early as the majority, are actually the minority, and we have to kind of give it some time to mature, because I'm sure we all do this. If you enjoy something, you silently enjoy it, and you have fun.
Yeah.
If you don't enjoy, you're more inclined to go leave a bad review on that food place or whatever it was because you had a bad experience.
So true.
And so right? We've all done this. They go, I look at myself and things that I do, right? And so we know this about just how humans think. And so we have to try not to make immediate reactions. But at this point, with 1 month down and decent amount of time into the next one, I'm feeling very confident that this was the right call and something I want to do more of, right? Of course, there's things to improve upon, but the feedback's come through. And by the way, one thing I want to throw in there, I feel so blessed to be able to interact with our community. Man, you guys encourage me so much.
The feeling is mutual, dude. The fact that you're here and just how accessible you are and how open-minded you are to sharing your thought process, I can't tell you what a credit and a service this hour that you spend is to our community. We can't thank you enough, man.
For sure, yeah.
Thank you. Oh, it's definitely mutual. But this time around on Wrath of Khan, I have never seen so many delighted players. I've never been so inspired with just how much people are messaging me, telling me they love the game, they're enjoying this feature, even this chat here. I'm excited. I'm tired. It's been a journey. It's been a lot of work, but I'm so excited. I just feel incredibly blessed to work on a project like this where there's just so much passion. You guys are the best, and thank you. It's always a pleasure being here.
Well,
are you energized enough to go back into assaults and make them better assaults?
No, nothing can save that terrible feature. Let it die. Let it die. Okay. just let that one go. All right.
The Prime's got you covered. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, wait. So the Primes that I just bought are funding Starbase assaults. Oh my God. Take them back.
That's exactly right.
Take them back.
No, you got it.
Listen.
Griffin told me to.
Yes, I fully support. I would almost like to see that almost as much as my damn back button at the end of the narratives, so I can hit the back button and actually enjoy the narratives that the narrative team actually writes. Is there anybody here from narratives that listens to this?
No.
I've got your back. Every day I will advocate. I will go to Scopely. I know where the office is. I will protest with signs that I want the back button for the narrative of the missions. Okay?
Oh my God.
Come on.
The back
It
button.
would be nice to read dialogue and you're getting hit by a revenge hostile. Oh my goodness.
I mean, wouldn't it?
Okay, the fact that you actually bring that up does present a logic point here. All right, we got to be quick. We got to move. All right, I want to go back and read that a little bit later. So that's actually very, very funny. Listen, thank you so much for the time. The one thing that I did want to mention, which we didn't have time to get to very quickly, was the amazing announcement that I believe we posted yesterday on the correction for the Priority 1 ATA mega claim. Do we have an update on that? Is that live or is that coming? I know you told me it was originally going to be like 24, 48 hours.
Yeah, it's fixed. I just don't know if it's got live yet. I think it's going to go live when we do a bunch of our other updates.
Okay.
Such as adding the new system. So when that does go live, you can expect to see more Sigma along the way instead of all the Sigma at the end.
Yeah, there you go. That was for the players who were asking about the Priority 1 ATA bundle. That will start paying Sigma now at Burton says, it went live this morning. All right, fantastic. Cruzito said it is live. There you go. So that will start paying Sigma as early as Tier 1, obviously with a small number, but as you tier that thing up. Really, Tier 10 looks really good, to be frank with you. Tier 10 was something like, 40 hours or something like that of Sigma, which is really, really nice. So be on the lookout for that, and another little dangle of carrot to upgrade that thing. Mr. Tiger, as we get ready to wrap up, obviously thank you for the time that you've spent here. This is the final month, as far as we're all aware. Wrath of Khan is wrapping up with part 2, which is almost a little disappointing because it's just been such a solid design.
I know. I want more.
Yeah, I'd love to do more. What are your future plans with respect to either this or anything else that you're willing to kind of hint at? And is there anything else that you would like to say to the player base regarding their progression with this? Any other little sneak peeks or any tips on planning and progression that players can look for through Wrath of Khan Part 2?
Leaks.
I think that leaks. Actually, my next release hasn't even started ideation yet. I'm going to relax for a second. I'm going to go on vacation.
Fair.
Everything seems like it's going well. And yeah, believe it or not, I can take a vacation. What?
I don't know about all
Hey,
that.
later this month.
Lost In says, can Tiger do all the arcs? I believe I asked you this question here not long ago. Can you just, like, do them all? And
no work-life balance. I'll just grind.
Yeah,
Kill myself with a replicator.
right?
Come on.
We like grinding too. Let's do that. No, seriously.
Come on out to the pergola in Florida. I'll cook you some hot dogs, lay out by the pool. It'll be great.
There you go. So
Well,
you're
I'm gonna grind. You're all gonna grind too. How about that?
Okay.
Fair enough. So you're going on vacation, and then coming back to make an arc that will outdo even this one. So this is it then. Part 2 is it. And as far as any upgrades to the Augment expansion, those are going to come through little nuggets that are dropped into future expansions, right?
So probably what I'll say though on this, just for visibility, when there's a 3-month arc, our team wouldn't actually be on it the whole time. We only are usually kind of, I guess, on deck for 2 months at a time. Mm-hmm. And so when there are 3-month arcs, that's actually another team who comes in to help finalize. So that's exactly what happened with the Mirror arc. We didn't do all 3 months. We did the first 2. We kind of laid the foundation, and we said, hey, team, another team, pick up where we left off, and you can build the ship, and you can build those things, and we kind of collaborate and do a handoff because 3 months is very intensive.
Yeah.
It's probably too much, and we don't want to burn ourselves out completely, right? So we do take that time. And so I'm not saying there's a 3rd month coming or anything. I'm not going to give any information. I'm not allowed to say anything. But I am saying that my months are done, and I get to chill.
Well, listen, I'll say this. I mean, if this 2-month arc is any indication, and we've seen more 2-month arcs here over the last year and a half, we've seen more of the 2-month arcs than we have of the 3 and the 4-month arcs. I kind of like the holistic design. Do you like handing off a project, or do you like kind of seeing it through? Because then, like, it's your ideology all the way through. This is going to go down.
Oh, that would freak me out. I could not do that. I mean, even you describing it gives me hives.
Well, but he designed some of the best stuff ever released. One of your first ones was DS9, right? That was one of your first, like, that was all your baby. And it's still heralded as one of the best stores, one of the best factions in the entire game. I mean, I feel like that is almost like legacy, right?
Well, let's not give me all the credit. I got a team behind me, right? I'm very blessed to have an amazing team that helps me build all this. And shout out to all of them if they're listening or if they watch this back. Like, the only reason we can make these cool things is because of the incredible team that I get to work with every day. And wow, like that's the awesome factor for me, is seeing these creatives be able to realize their ideas. And we've made some cool ideas together as a team, and I love working with those guys. It's always a joy. So it's really a package deal. And when it comes to your question of what I want to do 3, in a selfish way, yes. In a work-life balance way, no. I'm very thankful to hand it off and have some time to breathe. I love this game, but with anything, even if you love it, you can burn out on it.
For sure.
And what I would hate to see happen is to try loving the game so much that I actually now don't like the game anymore. Yeah. That's like a nightmare, right? And so I need that balance, and that's why I will gladly hand off whatever I do to another team and say, hey, let's make it even better.
Now that you're on vacation, maybe we can have you back in a few weeks and just talk about what makes Tiger tick. Do you like pool? Do you like darts? What's your favorite beer? You know, let's just get to know the real Tiger a little bit. That'd be just fantastic, wouldn't it, DJ?
That would be fun. Yeah, absolutely.
That would be fun.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, an insightful hour and 15 minutes. Thank you for the extra time. I know that we've got to let you go, and you started very early today, so thank you very, very much. Ladies and gentlemen, from Scopely Game Design here inside Star Trek Fleet Command, one of your favorite designers and one a friend of the show who has been here a number of times. He's an old veteran on Talking Trek now. Ladies and gentlemen, the infamous Mr. Tiger. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you.
The hero.
Thanks for having me.
All right,
guys,
man.
enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you very much. Have a wonderful vacation. Where are you going? Are you going somewhere exotic? Like, you going to a pool? Are you going to a beach? You going somewhere to ski? What do you do?
I'm going somewhere fun. This is a big trip, and I can't say too much because it's a secret trip. I'll let you know the details, DJ.
All right,
there's
absolutely.
some big stuff going down, but I'm going somewhere warm. I'm going somewhere American. I'm Canadian, so I get to go see
definitely the pergola then. He's definitely coming to my house.
He's coming to Tampa. All right, let's go. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tiger, thank you so much. Enjoy your vacation. We'll look forward to seeing you back. All right, take care, buddy.
Cheers.
All right, guys. Mr. Tiger. Wow. Absolutely.
The man, the myth, the legend.
Absolutely incredible interview there. Listen, and I'm not tooting any horn, all right, but I love some of those answers. I saw a few people in chat giving me a little bit of grief, Griffin, that I wasn't asking hard enough questions. First of all, I think I hit him on the planetary charts. All right. Some people think that this is not a great arc. I saw one very, very vocal person very, very upset about the Reliant. I think probably, all right, I could be wrong. All right, I could be very wrong, but I think that some of the confusion or some of the frustration, maybe, David, with the Reliant is the reason that I asked some of the questions that I asked tonight, which is, how do you use this thing right up front? Because you're right.
Yeah.
Listen, it's squishy. It is a Mayflower. Okay, I get that, and I don't know if he's still here. He was very mad at me earlier. He was like, terrible questions. So I don't know if he's still here.
No,
David,
they were great questions because I had the same problem. I was expecting, like David, to go on there and be able to get my splicers up, and that's not the point of the ship. It's to get these champion trophies, which I have absolutely no use for yet because I'm not at 60 million.
Here's the thing, though. No. Here's the thing. You will listen. You can't have enough. Okay, I went into this. Hey, chat. How many champion tigers? I was reading your chat. How many champion trophies did you guys go through as soon as you hit 60 million? Because I went through about 250,000 in literally one day. Okay, you can't have enough, Griffin. I think we did the math on this the other night, and I don't remember. Tarpy, welcome to the stage. Matters, welcome to the stage. Welcome in. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I'm pretty sure we did the math on this the other night, and didn't we not calculate?
Welcome for me. I'll just
hey, Karkin, what's up? But I didn't actually see you over there. Did we not do the math on this where it was like 1.3 million trophies? And that was just unlocking Khan, maxing Joaquim, and maxing Khan's favor. That didn't even include the skill points for Khan. We were at 1.3 million trophies. I'm telling you, you can't have enough, Griffin. Go out
I agree with you, and I'm just going to say one more thing that Tiger has no control over, and I'm sure everyone's sick of hearing it and talking about it, besides the stupid back button, which is the most, it's the greatest no-brainer in the history of mankind is to have a back button on the freaking narratives. But anyway, I don't see how many champion trophies I have on my screen ever. That doesn't matter if I have 30 million, if I have 80 million rep. They have the same three stupid currencies in the upper right. That's dumb.
You're right.
That's been that way since 2018. Put the damn currencies that are relevant to the screen I'm on in the upper right-hand corner. And then maybe I get a little bit more excited about it too. But I get it. Nobody can change that. Nobody can fix that. Whatever. I don't get why. But, I'm just putting a voice to it because that's dumb.
For sure.
Okay.
I get that. Absolutely. And you're right, Centrist. It depends on what level 1 through 5 of the Cons champions you can hit. I think I did the math for me at level 4, and it was still 1.3 million.
Quasel. Listen, Quasel, if I'm playing on my phone, I don't want to have to navigate over to a new screen and look up FCFC space and look up the mission that I don't remember the name for when all I need is a damn back button. Just put a back button on there. All I have to do is hit a back button. It's on the interface of the screen, and then I won't need your stupid FCC space. Oh
my God. Oh, come on. You just made him break a clock. Oh, my God.
Not the hill I would die on, but I respect him for dying on it.
Absolutely. Oh, God.
Anyway.
Jiminy Christmas. All right. Yeah.
You just go to FCFC space.
He just broke another clock.
My headphones are broken. Look what you did now.
You broke your headphones? What are you doing, dude? Why would you do that?
Don't worry about it. I'm fine.
Oh, my
This is fine.
God.
Everything's fine. Just go on with the show.
All right. Oh, my God. Gee. I can't right now. That's it. We're done. That's right. You get to be green now. All right. Welcome back, Green Griffin.
Listen. This is all my fault. None of this would have happened if I had not waited an hour of this podcast to open up my Ghost Energy drink.
Yeah.
Do you have one there today?
I do. Ladies and gentlemen, Talking Trek today is powered by the amazing energy that is contained within one can of Ghost Energy. Tonight, my drink of choice is Straw Bango. A mix of strawberry, banana, and mango. Loving that.
Give me hugs.
With 200 milligrams of caffeine, 1,000 milligrams of carnitine for legendary energy, epic focus, and none of the crash. That was. I just turned the alerts on, so they're going to go nuts here for a second. For all of the energy and none of the crash, that is my drink of choice tonight, Straw Bango from Ghost Energy. Griffin, what are you sipping on tonight?
Well, DJ, I'd like to introduce a flavor that's too good to stay in this world so long. It's limited edition Ghost Bubblicious Strawberry.
What?
Blast your taste buds into nostalgia with an iconic strawberry bubblegum flavor. Sweet, bold, unapologetically delicious. Ghost Energy isn't just another drink, DJs. It's zero sugar, packed with focus-boosting neurotropics, and built for the fuel to grind. All while tasting your favorite childhood gum. Bubblicious. This isn't just strawberry. This is Bubblicious Strawberry, DJ. The flavor that won't quit, and neither will you as you grind and grind and grind. Ghost Energy Bubblicious Strawberry. Taste the spirit. Fuel the legend. Oh, I can't wait to have my very first sip.
I don't open it, then later I can claim ignorance, right?
Oh, this is beautiful. It's just like strawberry Bubblicious.
I imagine that tastes like crap.
Bananas.
Oh, my God.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Listen, Bubblicious never tasted good. All right, like it tasted.
It did for the first 10 seconds.
Yes,
for the first 10 seconds, it's great.
Seconds. Okay.
This only stays in your mouth for 5 seconds, so there's no problem.
What is wrong with you?
Everything is wrong now. Oh my God! For those of you, thank you. All right,
that's great.
Yeah. Hey, Puddin'. How you doing, Broken Wolf? Listen, the sound alerts are going to catch up here a little bit. Yeah, I turned them back on. You guys can catch up a little bit.
I think that anytime they include the letter D in any currency or ship, it's just bound to be misused by this podcast.
Thank you, Candy White. Appreciate that. We are incredibly behind. We are so behind in sound alerts. So I'm just going to let those roll for a couple of minutes. GP Factor says, where can I get 60,000 in Joaquin Affinity? From the champion trophies. Right there, man. The champion trophies. That's where the Joaquin Affinity comes from. At 60 million.
DJ.
Yes.
You got a turtle hump in your head.
I know. Hi, Pickle Rick.
Crack that when Griffin
my
turned
God.
into a pickle. Get all that Ghost Energy drink in me.
Bananas.
I said whip it.
Bananas.
It's going to be chaos for just a minute. Just bear with it for like 5 minutes. And for those of you in podcast, you just fast forward about 3 minutes and then everything will be fine. A couple of questions that I want to answer from the community. And again, thank you, David. I don't think you're here anymore. I'm going to try and go back and tag you with the timestamp. I want you to come back and listen because I totally understand your first reaction to the ship was exactly my first reaction to this ship in playtesting. Okay, honest to God, I'm not kidding you. I said, wow, this is squishy. I came out on the ARC preview show, and I said, guys, at tier 10, I could not kill a single hostile at my level. Okay, I couldn't do it.
No.
I said that this ship was squishy. I had to find another use, okay? Because if you're looking at this ship, and I agree, I don't remember who said it in chat. It's behind with all the sound alerts, but whoever said it in chat says, so wait, I'm expected to wait 140 days or $400 for it to hit rare loot. Yeah, if that's what you wanted to do. But that's why I wanted to focus in on that part of the interview. This ship, it has pluses and minuses, right? Oh, who's this? Is that
That's the
Ghost
Tiger King.
Energy drinks for people who don't care what they put in their body by a failed supplement company.
I mean,
You
are they
too can
failed?
trash your body and wreck your sleep. Just don't give it to the tigers. They will maul you over the disgusting flavor.
Oh, thank you, Tiger King. Listen, it's no, it's a great
You
flavor.
know,
I like the flavor.
who also says that about Ghost Energy? That bitch Carol Effin Baskin.
Hey, Moopsy, how are you, buddy? Appreciate you being here. Now, listen. If I don't open it, then later I can claim ignorance, right? Yes, I'm always ignorant. The benefit of this ship, it's a double-edged sword, right? So we talked about this, and I want to go back and focus on this particular piece of it, Griffin. If we look at the double-edged sword piece of this, we're looking at usability out of the box, right? Then
that pisses me because I wanted more balls.
What? Who said that? Was that Karkin?
That was definitely.
I love balls.
Oh, shut up, Karkin.
You can never have
And
enough
it just
balls.
makes all the balls slap against each other. Not my voice.
Oh, no, there's more?
That's not my voice.
What is that?
I'm gonna turn it off.
Man.
I'm gonna turn off the alerts. We're caught up. I'm getting ready to turn the alerts off.
In other news, Star Trek Fleet Command is looking for new content creators. And if you too would like to be a new content creator, because the old ones don't work here anymore.
That's right.
Just go to Star Trek Fleet Command.
We're all fired. All right. Oh my goodness. See, what happened was what?
What is wrong with you?
Everything.
Exactly.
All right.
Obviously,
Everything
we're
is wrong.
talking about marbles.
Yes,
Marbles.
clearly that's what we were talking about. Anyway, let me please come back and talk about this ship. All right, I'm going to turn off the alerts. I'm turning off the alerts for just a few minutes until we get through the teaching part.
You quit the alerts.
I'm going to turn off the alerts when we get through the teaching part of this, all right? Plugster just dropped 5 gifted. Thank you very much. I turned them off, Centrist. It was fun
And you're
for a
behind
minute.
on Loston, who contributed a bunch earlier.
Thank you. Lost it. Yeah, he dropped 15 during the Tiger interview. Thank you so much. Yes, Centrist, I got him turned up. Sometimes just for a little comic relief, you turn them on for a minute, but then, you got to turn them back off a little bit. That all being said, to make a ship usable out of the box, that, as he mentioned, that's a real challenge, right? Because this ship opens up at level 26. Right? And then you've got, which by the way is Mayflower strength, all right? And then you've got level 70 players. All right. I can tell you right now, one of the big complaints that does come from the late G6 community, and Tarpy, I'm sure you can back me up on this, Matters, you can too, is why should I have to spend thousands of dollars to make a specialty ship useful for me? Right? That's a real question. It's a real gripe. All right. We hear that all the time. So to combat that, you can't make the entire point of the ship to kill your level of hostile. Right? You can't, that can't be the point of the ship if you want to make it fair and useful to everybody out of the box. Shadow Fox says you're paying for that catch-up mechanic. Yeah, but should somebody have to spend thousands of dollars or wait 400 days for the ship to be usable for them? This is a different kind of example. If the goal is not to hit your level of hostile, if the goal is to provide equal value to everybody who owns it, whether you're Ops 30 or Ops 70, then it can't be about combat. It has to be about something else. Now, Lost In points out, I have it at tier 10, so I spent anyway. Griffin's at tier 9. Guess what? You guys are, Griffin doesn't fully understand it yet, but he will, Lost In. You've got 5 days advanced or 3 days advanced knowledge on him. But you spent on it because of the value it can provide. And Griffin, you haven't realized it all yet, but buddy, I would love a tier 9 Reliant. Well, I would love it. All right. Mine is useful to me, and I'm tier 1. Guys, yeah. I'm not playing. Mine is tier 1. I got to do a couple components with my pulls. All right. I am tier 1. I think I've done 3 or 4 weapons. All right. I've done 5 weapons. I am tier 1, level 5 with 5 weapons, and I followed Jules's example, and I did the cargo bay for extra protected. All right? This ship is useful to me right now.
And are you flying the Anorax crew or are you flying a loot crew? What are you doing for your chest?
I am flying protected cargo. So Anorax does not affect these loot boxes. Okay?
Anorax, he doesn't. Why not?
Because he doesn't affect all loot boxes. He only affects certain currencies in loot boxes.
Some loot boxes. That's right.
So I personally am using a full protected cargo crew because I know I'm going to die and I want to take home as much common loot as I can. I am going to now show you, and for those of you in podcast, in as little as 48 hours, I am now holding 10 days of double refines. I'm holding 43 million common splicers. All right. And yeah, Savage Darkness says first one to be effective at this low in over a year. I agree.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're talking about creating content. Yeah. Sorry, I misinterpreted your comment. After
hearing this interview, I totally understand the effectiveness of the ship, and I love the ship. The only thing I don't like is that I can't see the currency that I'm ultimately collecting. But
yeah, no, that's absolutely true. I totally understand that. But that's why I want to come back and really the biggest critic during that entire interview was what I say his name was? David. And honestly, I think it's because we as a community are unprepared for this style of design. Cruzito, I think it was you, maybe, that you and I were talking about this a couple of days ago, and the simple fact that this particular game design is so unfamiliar to the player base of Star Trek Fleet Command that a lot of players don't even recognize how potentially good it can be because we're used to them all kind of being not spectacular. Yeah, it makes everybody uncomfortable because it's different. And it's unrecognizable by some. And I think that, based on the chat that I saw from David, I think that is the perspective of a lot of players is, hey, at tier 1, like, this ship is not even, it's dying to Mayflowers. Like, it has no power whatsoever. When I unlocked this ship, I had to scroll all the way down to where my baby Jelly was to find this ship in my ship carousel. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is that low powered. But as I have said a gazillion times in this game, power means nothing. Power means nothing in this game anymore. Used to. Right? Power means nothing. It's the abilities. And this ship has 4. Has 4 abilities now. Including loot, including damage. So, if we circle back to the design of part 1, which a lot of people were critical of, the 4 loops in one, including myself, this alleviates a lot of that while maintaining. And this, I think, is the super key point that I did try to drive home with him. I don't know if it sank in, but I'm going to relay it again. All right. One of the other big things that I want to point out is that this ship does not paywall any content, which is ironic to say because the ship itself is paywalled, right? Agreed. But the entire core intent of this loop continues to be grindable. That is Wrath of Khan Part 1. The unlimited grind model continues to be the primary focus and can be done without the Reliant. And that is what I find ultimately so beautiful about this entire 2-month series, and why, actually, I am pleased and proud of the community for this, which is, and I know this is going to sound shilly for a second, rewarding Scopely for making an arc and a ship that follows actual positive monetization schedules, which is don't paywall anything, just allow pay to skip the grind. And that's what the Reliant is. The Reliant does not paywall any content. Literally only the Reliant itself is paywalled, but that's okay. That's the tool. That is the spend that accelerates the grind that is Wrath of Khan. So when I am looking at what the core of this is and why I praise the Reliant, it's because it is the accelerant to the grinder's path that exists in the Augment expansion. The Reliant is the pay to speed it up, which has always, Griffin, been my desired monetization. I want everything available to everybody. I want everything available to everybody, and I want to be able to pay to speed it up.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Cruzito brings up an interesting point, but if you're a lower level, it does kind of seem meh because you could not get rep last month, and with the ship, it doesn't improve that. But doesn't it? Tiger talked about that, Cruzito. Let's step back into our little spreadsheet here, okay? Because it does. It's for the exact same thing that I just told Griffin. It will improve your rep because you will still be able to auto grind the rep. Listen, most of it, if you're a lower level, what were you hitting? If you were over here, what were you actually hitting? Somebody throw me out. Like a G3, G4 player, what are you hitting? What are you hitting? 44s, 46s. I mean, those are packing a punch. 34s, great. 34s. C Engineering, Lord 17 says I'm hitting 34s. I'm getting 480 rep. If I'm using a loot crew, I'm going to obviously get more than that. Okay. By the way, you could still use a loot crew on the Reliant. All right. But last month, you were manually hitting these hostiles. You were going and hitting these hostiles manually. Right? Well, now, with this ship, even as a G3 player, because I'm here to tell you, this ship at Tier 1, straight out of the box, can hit these level 26s. Okay? They can hit these level 26s at Tier 1, straight out of the box. And now, you're earning 400 loot instead of 480. Well, that's 80 less loot. Yeah, but it's also auto grindable. You can step away. You can let it go overnight. You don't have to actively grind that 480. So how much more rep are you actually going to get? This ship, even though the loot bonus is splicer only, Cruzito, this ship is still going to accelerate the rep grind dramatically because you're still earning rep with all of these with all these hostiles that you're killing.
You just said it and you forget it.
That's right. Now,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Now, I'm taking live ops out of it. Divine says because of event points, now you got to hit the 56s. Take the events out of it. I do still maintain that I think live ops has a little bit of a disconnect with game design on what the expectation is. Okay? I can't go kill 68s. I just can't. All right? I'm squishy. All right? A lot of players can't hit their level. A lot of players have discovered that we've got to punch down. Live ops didn't get the message last month, and it appears they have not yet received that memo this month. Okay? I agree that there is a disconnect there. So take the events out of it. I'm not talking about the events. I'm talking about the design. Nakar says it's a tiny drop of rep. Yeah, but if they were only killing the 38s before, they were only getting 48 to begin with. And by the way, even if you are like Griffin and you can grind out on the 66s and get 3,200, right? You can get 3,200 per kill. Again, that's still active grinding.
It sure is.
I can let it sit without doing anything, and every 8 hostiles that it auto grinds, which by the way takes about 8 minutes, that equals one of my active kills. So if I let it go overnight and it survives all night, even at a low tier, even if you're hitting the smallest hostile, you're still going to earn more rep You're still going to earn more rep. You're going to earn it faster anyway. And if you continue to actively grind, well, then you're going to earn it in 2 different ways. But
so
even
I'm
if
sitting in 52 and I'm hitting 30,000 every time a revenge hostile dies on my ship.
I mean, wow. So you're using loot crew then. You're using a loot crew.
Yeah.
Well, and that was another thing I was gonna recommend too. If I mean, obviously you're tier 9, but for those of you who are lower, all right, if you are hitting lower, you can still use a loot crew on this ship. The Reliant can still take a loot crew. I'm doing protected cargo because I'm trying to protect my splicers, but rep is lesser important to me now because I got to 60 million. Now, for me,
you killed your 35,000 hostiles.
It wasn't that many, but now I am focusing on the trophies, which equates to number of kills, and the splicers, which equates to cargo. So I'm not necessarily worried about the rep. I'm not going to use a rep grind crew. I'm going to use protected cargo so I can go home with more. But that's what's beautiful about this is that there's multiple different strategies. There's multiple different ways to play this. There's multiple different paths that you can take based on what your priority is. All right. So if you want to go loot crew and get your rep faster, that will get you to the 60 million faster. And that's a great thing. So I fully understand, and Cruzito has pointed this out, Lost In has pointed this out, and I think that is what some of the critics in chat have pointed out, is that the ship is very soft. It's very squishy. It had to be if it was going to be equally usable for everybody all the way up, because you got to remember this ship started at Ops 26. So if you're an Ops 35
which is great that all the younger players get to participate in this and not have to be in Ops 40, which was the whole strategy of 2024.
Well, it was, but you know why I think they did this is because this is an expansion of the original augment, which started very low. This is an expansion of away teams, which started at what? Ops 18?
Something like that. Yeah, I think it was 18 or 20.
Now, Mud brings up a really good point. He's like, they opened it to more players to sell more packs. Fine.
Nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and I'm going to tell you why. All right?
Buy that pack.
There's nothing wrong with that at all, because then you get this. And by the way, this is good for them. This is good for them. And you know what else?
What else?
It's good for us.
What?
It's good for us because this is what they look at. Data is what they look at. When they look at this, they're going to say, okay, we sold more Reliance. Why? Is it because it was available to more people? Sure. Okay, that's fine. We can go with that. Is it because players enjoyed the arc and they actually are playing it more and they value the rewards? Okay, so let's continue to offer valuable arcs and valuable loops that are going to give us more. Okay, that's good for us. You know what else is good? An infinite grind model. All right, a grind out your currency. A grind out the feature that is not paywalled for 6 months or longer. All right, this shows Scopely that we enjoy the content so much that we do actually agree with UltimatDJz, and we're willing to pay a little bit to accelerate the grind if indeed it's a good grind. Vasuba says, I think we also have to take into account nostalgia. The Reliant is a special ship, and I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but you know what? In this game, no one buys avatars for the sake of it. Nobody buys projectiles just for the sake of it. This game has proven that players need utility or they're not going to buy stuff. All right? So this community, this game of players is very power-driven. It's very utility-driven. All right? Cruzito said this also, and by the way, actually a conversation we're having, Cruzito, this particular model also supports partial pack unlocks. If players love the grind that much and they're already engaged in the grind, they are more likely to spend a little bit of money after some partial progression because, gosh, daggone it, they can't wait anymore. They just have to get in. So this is beautiful to me, and not because I'm shilling for Scopely. This chart right here is proof positive that the players are capable of sending a message to Scopely through their wallets when the feedback exists like it does for Wrath of Khan.
Oh, 100% that.
This,
otherwise,
to me,
we wouldn't be seeing the continuation of it and the doubling down of it.
This to me absolutely provides data to Scopely that says, maybe we should try this again. And if they do, I'm going to praise it. Just like Bubba Joe said, Scopely's biggest critic comes on this stage this past week and says, is it grindable day one? Don't care what the cost is. 30,000 hostiles, 50,000 hostiles, 5,000 hostiles, don't care. Is it grindable without spend? If the answer is yes, then everybody has to shut up and sit down. That's what he said. This is the model he fought for years. This is the model that other game companies use, is make everything available, pay to skip the grind. We've seen the videos. We've made fun of the videos before about that legendary sword video. It's such a great video. That video is timeless. But it is fact. That's the way it should be. Now, T-Red says it's only one data point. You're absolutely right. You're exactly right, T-Red. It is only one data point. There's a lot more that come in. I'm here to tell you, based on what limited data I have seen, players responded well to Wrath of Khan Part 1. Based on what you guys vocalized in the rating show, based on what you guys said to the designers in your surveys, based on what you guys said in your chats, they see this stuff, man. They see it.
They definitely do. They definitely do.
Now, Gray Sabers asked the next question. If ARCs are developed months in advance, how long for us to get it again? We're going to have to be a little bit patient. It's definitely not. I mean, they didn't even fully do it this month, right? They didn't even fully do it this month because I mentioned in the interview what I wanted them to see, or what I wanted to see this month, and we didn't get that. All right? It probably won't come in July either. Probably not August, but I think that we could probably get to seeing it soon. Hopefully.
Well, who knows what they predict and what the map is? Maybe they've wanted to try this more than just once. We'll have to see. It seems like this is more of a Mr. Tiger production more than a Scopely production. But I mean, with the results that we see Mr. Tiger getting on the results of this ship being sold and that sell through, that is incredible sell through. I mean, it would be silly not to replicate what happened last month from their business model standpoint.
I don't necessarily disagree.
And let me tell you one more thing about the ship, not to derail you. It's sort of along the same lines. I said a moment ago, the real value of the ship not being what I thought it was going to be, the splicers, but being, the champion trophies and even the rep. I'm literally parked in the 52 system right now. These revenge hostiles are not touching me. I'm only supposed to get 1,500 rep per 50 revenge hostile. However, I'm getting an average of 8,041 rep with a loot crew.
Yeah, and
that's
you will.
Over 5 times what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and you will. Yeah, you'll absolutely get more of that. So, yeah, no, I mean, I think when you look at everything, yeah, that's right. Griffin's starting to figure out the recipe, and that's just it. I think that's where people are missing it. I think that's where
all that to say, especially that jerk David, who is giving you a hard time in the chat.
David.
Come on, David.
David.
What?
David.
You know what? David has a legitimate concern. He's voicing the same concern that a lot of players have come to me with. I mean, like, hey, this ship doesn't kill anything. Well, it wasn't built to. At least not early. Not yet. All right. It will, as Tiger says, eventually earn you that uncommon, eventually earn you that rare, but it couldn't do that on day one if we're going to provide the same value to G3 as we do to G6. And I'm here to tell you, the G5 and G6 players deserve this. They deserve it. And here's the thing, G3 and G4 does too, if you recognize the value in it. All right, G3 and G4. Listen, everybody who plays deserves value out of something that they purchase. So how do you do that universally over 40 levels of gameplay? This is how you do it. Mm-hmm. And it's unorthodox, and it's going to surprise players. And you've got to adjust the expectations based on the other successes and or failures of the other one-trick pony / specialty ships. All right. Some of them are not one-trick ponies. Look at the Protector. Look at Voyager, even. Look at Vindicator's arguable. Look at the Junker. Oh, Junker's great. But then you look at the Eviscerator, right? Okay. Garbage. Revenant is great in its loop. Not really outside its loop. Vindicator can be, but it's so freaking slow. All right. It can be very powerful eventually, but it's so daggone slow. All right. Listen, they've had some hits and misses with specialty ships. So let's scrap that. Let's come up with something fresh and new that provides value to everybody equally and grows with you as you ops up and doesn't require massive investment from the top end of players. Because let's face it, they've already done it. They've already invested massively. You know, let's give them some value. G6 deserves this. G3 deserves this. And as long as people know how to use it properly, which I'm going to claim is my job, all right, if I can teach players how to use this properly and teach them where the value lies in it for them, not only short term, but long term, then this is the model I want to be, that I want to be standard. I want this to return. Matters wrote me a comment here just a little bit. Actually, I'm sorry, it was Putz. Wrote me a comment. Can't talk. That says, let's see, where was it? Was it Matters or was it Putz? I can't remember.
Oh, man.
David.
It wasn't David. And the long and short of it was, Mr. Tiger should write a master class. This is how any content should be released, which is value for all, scalable in growth, and availability to everybody. All right? This is what Star Trek Fleet Command should be.
I agree. Well said.
All right. Nice job. Nice job. Questions, comments from the chat. We will answer those, and we'll do it here in just about 5 or 10 minutes, and then we'll get ready to go for the night on this very special episode. Thank you, Griffin. Welcome back. How was your trip? I'm going to turn the alerts back on because I see some people have done some things like Indominus Prime. Thank you.
Oh.
Indominus Prime said, oh, wait, what? He says the ship sucks. Just another ship to access a chest.
Oh, Indominus Prime.
Not
David.
Well, no. Hang on. Technically speaking, he's correct. Okay? The trophies and the credits and all that stuff. But, I mean, it does accelerate the entire augment. He says for Op 70. Listen, are you at 60 million rep yet? Indominus Prime, if you're at 60 million rep, then you need trophies out the ass. Okay? Let it earn your trophies. Because that's what it needs. But you're right. You're using the ship to open another chest.
But what do you want them to do? Help you with the Borg solo armadas? Yeah. I mean, come on.
I mean, that chest is giving you really fun and good things. All right? Hey, you tell me, Indominus, When was the last time you got to max an epic officer for free in its opening month?
It's pretty good.
When was the last time you ground out a free fleet commander in its opening month? When was the last time?
Ooh, I know. Never.
When was the last time you were sourced enough skill points to max a fleet commander in its opening month?
Never.
And yet you have the choice to choose which of these you want to work on. You can choose if you want to work on Khan. You can choose if you want to work on the officer shards. You can choose if you want to work on Joaquin. I mean, how great is that? Mike from Chicago, thank you for your resub. Appreciate you.
Hey, buddy.
Neon says, I choose less grind. You know what? Fair. Less active grind or less passive grind? If you're choosing less active grind, then guess what? The Reliant is your answer.
It's all about choice. Kind of like I get to now choose if I'm going to grill a hot dog or a hamburger on my new Paradise Grill 75,000 BTU burner, DJs.
Oh, wow. You got a new grill? Or is this like the same grill?
Yeah. No, well, it's finally installed and up and working. The contractor finally got his head out of his ass, and my barbecue now is fully functional.
Oh, good.
And I can I've got a sear station. I can sear my steaks.
Oh, nice.
And then I can turn them over for a nice medium rare. I can get hot dogs and hamburgers going. I got a rotisserie feature. I even have a pizza oven attachment for this baby.
I am excited. You realize that we are less than 30 days away from sharing a drink and a pizza in your pizza oven in person.
30 days. We're 2 weeks away. We're 2 weeks away.
I didn't tell anybody when we were going to be there so that they didn't all descend on your house like a pack of locusts.
Well, that's okay. I have a trained snipers up on the roof, so I recommend they don't try.
Yeah, I didn't tell anybody exactly when we were coming. As a matter of fact, it's not 2 weeks. What are you talking about? We've got a special stream. We have scheduled a puzzle race with another streamer for June 14th. As a matter of fact, puzzles have already been shipped. Mine says that it arrived, but I haven't found it yet. I'm afraid Hazel ate it.
Hazel probably ate it. Check under
I'm gonna have to
the
go
broken
look.
Monopoly pieces.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go look and see. But yeah, no, the puzzle's been shipped. That's June 14th, where we will be doing our puzzle race. And so yeah, and I'm doing Studio B this weekend, so it already narrows it down to 2 weekends. But yeah, I'm not telling anybody when we're going.
That's fine. They'll never make it past the armed guards at the gate. Don't worry.
Very nice.
Anything else goes, so you laugh, but I do. I actually have a gator moat surrounding my house, and they're very angry. They're very hungry, and I do feed them steaks off the barbecue, so they'll do anything I say.
Yeah, he communicates with them telepathically. All right.
they answer to food. They answer to steak.
Yeah.
I don't need telepathy.
Yep.
I need good steak.
Nakar says G6 players have an accelerated path for the Reliant for G3, G4, and G5. G5 have an accelerated path for G3 and G4. Why didn't G4 get an accelerated path for G3? Because it's such a small window. We did ask that question, Nakar. We did, but it's such a small window there. I mean, you're talking 5 tiers total for G4 content. Let me go back and double check this thing. Let's see. Reliant. Let me find it. I believe you're only talking. Well, so G3 and G4 says 8 tiers, but it's not that much. You will absolutely be able to start farming the G4 hostiles probably by tier 3 or tier 4. Okay, it really will. Yeah. So even though it says G4 is all the way through tier 9. The only reason it says G4 is all the way through tier 9 is because it takes tier 9 before you can start earning the materials for G5. All right. But I mean, if the ship is usable for G3 at tier 1 and it's usable for G4 at tier 4, it's not necessarily a huge upgrade path needed there for that original tier. Because you remember,
hey,
you
DJs,
don't forget, you don't have to clear the whole
thing
either. You don't have to clear the whole thing either. Yeah.
Can I ask you a research question? Can you go into the away team's research?
Sure. Be happy to do that for you. ATA Research. All right, what are we taking a look at here, bud?
Well, somebody asked me this in my alliance earlier today, and it didn't have a good answer. Can you look at column 2, row 2, Pure Pioneer Crest?
Yeah.
That's really expensive. And tier 5 gives you a 5% bonus. What's up with that?
All right. So I asked this question of game design, and the answer that I got was that this free grinders research should have been equal, and is, by the way, equal to the first $20 prime that would have existed here. If you guys will recall, when this thing first came out, prime priority away team research efficiency, it was 3 levels. The first level was $20. It included 5%. If you spent $50, then you got 20%. And if you spent the $100, then you got 50%. Their thinking was that they wanted the free-to-play to be equal to the first level of the prime, which indeed it was. First level was $20, gave you 5%. That's what this one gives. Now, if you're asking about whether or not it's super worth it, that's debatable. All right, because
nobody should do that for the amount of material that takes.
Well,
right?
That is not accurate. Okay.
Oh,
depends on your choice here. All right. I typically, as Jules, will always recommend to hit the efficiencies first. All right. Carissa's nailed it. The 5% will save you credits over the lifetime of the research, but it's not very high and may not be worth slowing your early progression. All right.
Mm-hmm.
The entire tree will cost approximately 1.7 million Pioneers Crest for the entire tree. 5% efficiency on that is 76 or 75,000. Okay.
Okay. What do they want to take it up to tier 5? What does
Let
that
me
cost?
rephrase. Let me rephrase. After the expense of the research, you will save 75,000. Even
after the expense. Okay.
So here's the question. If 1.7 million is the pool, am I going to notice 75 grand?
No.
That's kind of how I feel about it. Mord has it right. If you get the efficiency first, you're slowing your progression significantly, even if it's cheaper in the long run. If you skip the efficiency, you've got earlier access to rares and epic ATAs, but you're ultimately spending more. I agree with that assessment. And I'm not opposed to the choice that it provides players. Again, it comes down to a stratagem. Okay? I personally, as you guys can see, did not find the value here. I did the first level so that I could unlock a few things, and then I realized quickly that I personally wanted to unlock other things first. And in doing so, Griffin, I feel like I have earned 70,000 Pioneers Crest, or will earn 70,000 Pioneers Crest faster as a result of skipping this. In other words, I'm willing to spend 70,000 more to get access to the good stuff sooner.
There you go.
All right. But you are correct. This prime is very questionable in value. All right. Mathematically, it will save you, but at what cost? The cost is time.
DJ, you're not even taking into consideration. I mean, you are with the 75, but like in the very first starting of the process, how much of that loot are you going to spend just on that prime, right? And if you can get to an uncommon or a rare, really, if you can unlock rares, how many rares do you need to run in the time frame that it would have taken you to collect all of that loot to get to, before you to get all of the efficiencies? First off, I would have to say it's probably 10 rares.
Well,
and you're gonna do 10 rares.
I don't know about that math, but I'll tell you, here's why I made the decision I made. I made the decision I made because I wanted to rush the rares and actually the epic, not for the epic assignments. Okay. But if you take a look at your tree, right behind unlock epic assignments is unlock conquest, which, by the way, requires 60 million reputation. But right behind conquest is Khan's favor. Now, Khan's favor doesn't even cost Pioneer's Crest. But do you know what Khan's favor does do? Khan's favor gives you boat tons of Pioneer's Crest.
Oh, you like those?
All right.
Wait, it doesn't cost.
It does not cost
or something.
It costs champion. It costs insignias, which come from champion trophies. All right. So yeah, it essentially costs trophies. But what it does is gives Pioneer's Crest. I've got this thing up to level 5. It gives me 1,200 a day, which means, all right, by this math, if I got to this faster than 30 days, which I did, then Khan's favor actually outweighs the benefit from the efficiency research. Because this is every day.
Exactly.
Yeah, this is every day time-wise. It's every day in perpetuity. So that's why I prioritized it. And now that I've gotten as far as I did, I'm probably not going to go back and finish it. I could
How
go
have you
back.
gotten so many hijacked insignias? Did you buy them, or are you getting lucky on away teams?
Hijacked insignias come from the champion trophies, you goofy. That's what I've been saying. Dude.
Oh, but I have to be at the 60 million in order to unlock that trade.
Yes.
Oh, I hate it.
You
I
got
hate it. I hate it. I hate everything about it. I hate that I have to grind all these 60 million. But you know what? I will tell you this.
You don't.
Sitting here the last time.
Hang on. You don't have
sitting
to.
here the last 10 minutes. Listen, sitting here the last 10 minutes, listening to you babble about nothing. I have actually gotten like 600,000, nearly 1 million. So you're right. With this ship, this is going to go really fast. I'm happy again. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome.
The other thing to think about when looking at the efficiency is there's a lot of researches in this tree that you might not even need. Some of them are giving you officer shards for officers you already have max. Some of them are giving you efficiencies for.
I'm going to play an evil trick.
Max.
I'm going to do something very, very evil.
Uh-oh.
What's that?
I'm just going to remind you and show you that there is indeed a pack for you to buy reputation if you wanted. I mean, you don't have to.
Is that as evil as what you did the other night? Keeping that guy up?
There it is! Yeah, you.
Okay. Problem solved.
It is a pack limit of 1, but Griffin knows how to do shenanigans. All right, so there's.
Oh, I sure do.
Yeah.
I sure do.
So I mean, there you go. All right, you can do it. See, this is, by the way, it is a waste of money. All right, it is ridiculous, DOS. But I maintain that this is acceptable. Because this is spending to skip up a grind that is indeed available to all. That's right, Cruzito. Pay to skip it if you want. That's fine. I am glad that you feel good about that. But guess what? Mord ground it out, and good for him. You know? But I'm telling you, if you auto farm, Shelby's right. Auto farm this, use your tier 9 Reliant that you've already spent for, auto grind, literally. By the end of the weekend, he says, you'll have 60 million rep.
Oh, I'm definitely going to be there. I'm watching what's happening now. I'm like 15 minutes in, almost 1 million rep in this level 52 system with the grind crew. So there you go.
Yeah, you're not going to have trouble. You're not going to have trouble for that.
No.
All right. Divine says taking a month off, Griffin, was your issue. Yeah, well, he was pissed.
No, it's not even about not spending. I've been very busy working. I just haven't had the time really to engage in the game as much as I normally would.
Well, and unfortunately, or not unfortunately, but the timing was ill for you because last month was a very grind-heavy arc. If you engaged with all the events, this is where I say live ops, there was a disconnect. But there was a silver lining. Okay? The silver lining was if you completed all those events, then you did grind a lot. and you did get a lot of rep, and you had to. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there was a little bit of a silver lining there. I do agree that the events should not have been as hard, but if you did engage in those events, I mean, you did earn rep faster. I mean, that's for sure.
Oh, did they pay rep out? See, I didn't even finish my battle pass. I just couldn't.
No, dude, the hostels pay rep, my friend. That's what we've been talking about all night.
I understand that. I'm just saying I didn't have just not enough time.
The events,
not enough time.
The events required exorbitant amounts of grind last month. Like way more hostels than it should have been. But if you completed those events, then you killed way more hostels than you would ordinarily. And if you did kill way more hostels, then you earned way more loot, way more rep, way more wrath credits and splicers and all this stuff. So it would all daisy chain. But again, I just feel like the requirements were awful high. But nonetheless, if you did participate, which you did not, if you did participate, then you would be much farther along than you are now. Canine Tooth is poking a little fun and says, why are you hitting 52s with a tier 9? First of all, he's not you, but he should probably be hitting, I mean, to be honest with you, 54, he's not far off. I would probably recommend that he's hitting 54s, to be honest with you.
No, because that's where it starts really taking a bite out of my ass on the whole health.
But even mathematically,
it's for 100 more rep. Nah, no, thank you.
Well, yeah, I was going to say mathematically, you're in a good spot. I was going to say mathematically, the 54s are going to pay you better in loot as far as rare and uncommon splicers. Hey, Puddin'. But if you're going for rep, then you want to do it to the point where you're able to grind hundreds of these. You want it to survive the night. You know what I'm saying? You want it to survive the night.
That's why I'm in 52 town.
Yeah, more kills is better. Not only that, but I'll remind you, if he's killing 52s, he's also earning trophies at triple the rate that I'm earning them. All right? So that is absolutely going to help him make up for what he missed last month. I mean, he's going to earn trophies at 150 a pop, where I'm earning them at 50 a pop, even now. So that is a benefit to upgrading the Reliant if you were going to do that. Now, I'll get there eventually, but I'm hoping within 3 to 4 days, I'm hoping I can at least pop up and start getting 100 is my goal. And I mean, that should be free to play here in the next few days.
And that'll put you in a 42 system.
Yeah, 42 system.
You'll do that.
I think so.
Well, there you go, kids. That's the lowdown. We had a great interview with Mr. Tiger. We talked about all things new ship. Talked about a little bit of research. So it's a good show, DJs.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome back to Griffin, who's been hard at work and busy traveling. A couple of announcements very quickly. Thank you again to everybody who supported on the show tonight. We still owe a couple of bonus streams. I'll tell you, I actually had originally planned on doing a bonus stream last night. I'll tell you why I didn't. It was not because I didn't value Lost In all your contributions, which obviously I do. I appreciate that. Wednesday night is the best night for me to spend with Oliver, just because the way we get home early on those days. And I have to show you guys a picture. Oliver, normally when I do a show on Wednesday, I would come out after he goes to bed. Okay, that's when I do streams on Wednesday, it would be after he goes to bed. So usually like 8:30, 9 o'clock. Last night, little baby Otter DJ wanted to snuggle. All right. And he wanted to snuggle. And then he fell asleep, Griffin, with his little dirty, grimy feet. All right. But he fell asleep with like his feet propped up on me, on my chest. And I was just like, I'm not moving. I ain't moving. I'm going to lay right here and let these baby feet just rest on me. And then I ended up falling asleep with him. So that was what it was last night. I do still owe you guys, I think, 3 bonus streams now. Is that right, Tarpy? I think 3. Because Lost In did 2 the other night, so I think we're up to 3 now. Is that right?
What? Sorry.
How many bonus streams? I don't remember how many bonus streams we're up to. 2 or 3?
2 more, I think.
Oh, 2 more. Okay.
2 more.
Okay, good. So I did. Okay. Divine says 3. Listen, on the last stream, Lost In did 2. but I think I was paid up to I don't remember now. I'm going to have to go back and look at my notes. I've made notes. It's either 2 or 3. But Lawson says, I think it's 3. I think it is 3. I think it is 3 because I was paying off my last one, and then you bought another one, and then you bought 2 more, like literally back to back. So anyway, that's why I didn't come out here the other night, but I do plan on coming out Friday. I'll probably do something with you guys on Saturday, so we might be able to knock out 1 or 2 through this weekend. But that was why I didn't. Also, quick announcement, it is official. Congratulations to everybody who's been working and training over in the fledgling content creator program. Hammy posted tonight that the content creator applications are officially open. So I'm very, very excited to see what is going to happen with that. Very, very excited to see who comes in and applies. And I know that a lot of people over in the new content creator Discord are excited and very busy and working on their applications and everything to get those turned in. So very, very excited that is starting to shape up and take place. And again, I know that is hot, rife with emotion throughout the community. But again, I focus on the positive, which is more people and more partnerships and more content, which is ultimately good for the community. All right. So I want to focus on the positive there and not necessarily dwell on what may be perceived as negatives there. I want to stay positive about everything. So, but that was a great announcement to see today that they're actually moving forward with that. So that has been announced. And if you are interested in becoming partnered and working with Scopely, developer access, playtest access, all this stuff is possible with this new program.
I am so positive. I'm full of positive energy.
I am positive about it. The application is available. The link is available on the official Discord, and we will share it in our Discord later on tonight. To be sure to check out our YouTube channel as well, where I posted my own video, start to finish. I edited, I cut everything. Griffin, have you had a chance to dissect this thing yet? I know you've been very, very busy.
I was so impressed. Aww. I was so amazed. I was so happy. For the first time in 2 years.
For the first time in 2 years, what?
You actually put up your own video. I liked it.
I
hearted it.
It took me hours. It took me so long. I am so bad at that. Yeah, thank you, Iron Chef. Oh, thank you. No, listen, man. You support all the CCs. Thank you for your 100 kitty bitties. I appreciate that. Aardvark, thank you for your 28-month Tier 3 resub. You are incredible as well. Thank you very, very much. Guys, thank you for being a part of our live studio audience tonight. We invite you to visit our website at TalkingTrekSTFC.com, where you can find the details and how you can win a free cruise from Talking Trek. That is available on TalkingTrekSTFC.com. Thank you, Dastros, for your 12-month resub. Happy anniversary to you. Appreciate you very, very much. Visit our website where you'll find a link over to the YouTube channel where you can find my version of a Quick and Dirty, which is still like 18 minutes long, but it's good data. It's still good data, okay? That is available over on our YouTube channel. You can also find links to our Patreon. You can find where you can support the show. You can find links to our merchandise store where we've got some stuff over there. Lots of stuff that you can find by visiting our website. We appreciate all of you. Thank you very, very much. Griffin, with that, I think we're ready to call it a night, yeah?
Time to hit the jacuzzi.
Time to hit the grill. For you, I'm gonna go make a tuna sandwich, I think. Yeah. Do I have an update on the garage? No, they're coming back Monday with more chemical tests. Did I tell you my garage caught on fire?
Oh my God.
I did.
Yeah,
right?
I saw that.
Yeah.
Garage.
There's caution tape up. They put up a crime scene caution tape.
I told you to deny everything. You better not have told them about those gas cans.
They knew it. When they came, they had to do the interview. I wasn't going to fib. I was like, yes, this was here, and this was there, and this was here, and this was here.
You weren't home. A neighbor could have come a half hour before the fire and stolen your gas. How do you know?
Well, well, crap. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I might get screwed. I don't know. We'll see.
He wasn't there.
Oh, gosh. All right. Well, there we go. We're going to wrap it up tonight. Thank you, guys. Oh, Wilson. No. You're here. Hang on. Don't go anywhere. Tarpy told me you were gone. So So, Wilson, hang out. As soon as we end the podcast, I'll give you your chance to play right here, all right? Thank you guys so much for listening to Talking Trek, a registered trademark and recorded in front of a live studio audience for distribution across podcast platforms everywhere. I'm your friendly neighborhood cat person, UltimatDJz, saying me out for now. Love you, mean it. Catch you on the next one. Good night, everybody.